You take your time, Darryl, and when you're set down, I give him my question, and
Okay.
we can introduce ourselves. Right?
Going live. Awesome. It says I'm live. So this is Darryl Lee Barrett Jr. It seems like a mutual stream with me and Shawn talking with Pete, and there's Big Blue on here. What's going on, Big Blue? Remember we was talking with my what is his name? Mind of Manny that day.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't think I've ever met True before. True. What questions do you have, Pete?
True Blue, True Blue.
That's True Blue.
Um,
Oh, I forgot. That's right. So what questions do you have?
uh, I don't have any questions, man. Just general conversation, Darryl. I've seen you around. Shawn, Jose's hangout as well. I haven't heard you speaking too much about your own position in all of this, but the things I have heard from you, you certainly come across in a very reasonable manner.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering, the question I had to begin with was, when did you start? How long have you been in this arena, this ridiculous arena, right? The spinning bowler versus a flat in a stationary earth. That's ridiculous. That was settled 500 years ago. But how long have you been in this arena, and how long have you been taking the idea or the notion seriously that the Earth could be flat and stationary?
Well, to be clear, I've never taken the idea seriously that the Earth could be flat. It was pretty much always established to me that it's a globe. It's simply that somebody that I knew started believing in it and was trying to get me to believe in it and was showing me videos. So I originally got into the topic by simply sort of debunking what he was saying. So basically looking at the videos and debunking the videos he was showing me, basically. Um,
Okay.
so that's how I started. He was just showing me some videos on YouTube that he took at face value, and I would just look
Well,
at him and find the holes in them and try to talk to him about it.
well, already you took it seriously enough. Went to the effort of trying to debunk your friend, and were you successful in debunking your friend? Are you still friends?
Well, I was, and by the way, there's some background noise. Is that you don't know where that's coming from?
I hear it. Shawn, I think it's from Shawn. Let me mute Shawn. Happy happy to. That's it. Yeah. So he was on a second account,
Uh,
but
so
yeah.
so it depends on how you describe that. Was I successful in debunking my friend? Yes, I was successful in
Okay.
debunking him. Did he accept it? No. So he still is
You
a
still a
is
flat
a
earther? Are you still
is a
friends?
believer. Yes, and and actually he's talking about concave recently. So he believes he's going beyond flat Earth, but he actually didn't want to be my friend anymore because I didn't accept the flat Earth. So, like a few years later,
Right.
he tried to. It seemed like he tried to be my friend again. I think he was going through something with his girl or something. They wanted to talk with me again and was trying to strike up a conversation. But by that point, I guess I was just like, you know, you just threw me away for these
I
guys.
mean,
So I just let us stay our separate ways. We still talk once in a while, just about flat Earth stuff. If he
okay.
pops on my channel or something. But yeah.
Well, it comes back to friends then. What does it mean to be a friend to somebody? What does it matter what a man thinks about his own nature and the nature of his life and the universe in general?
Hmm.
Does that matter when it comes to friendship? Um,
Well, apparently to him,
uh,
you need to
in
accept the Earth
general,
is
I'm
flat,
asking that in general.
or you just he don't want to deal with you basically. So I guess unless he's
And
starting to
he,
feel bad and needs somebody to talk to, then he pops up. But in the
and do you
time,
have? Do you know anyone else? Do you know anyone else in real life who has taken the idea of flat Earth seriously?
no. As a matter of fact, it was because of him. It was going on Bandsaw. We on Shawn's hangout if you want to join. Anybody have the link to Shawn's hangout? I could post it on the video because some of the people who watch my video might want to join here as
Yeah,
well.
I'll post it here. I'll post it here in chat,
I'll
or
post it so
you can
Bandit can join.
you
Uh,
can call me Pete, Shay, or Dodo as well. I'm particularly attached to the dodo, the bird that you probably think existed but didn't. That's a different story.
oh, no
But
problem.
yeah,
Well,
I
yeah.
mean, when I'm a flat earther, I would say since 2013, after due consideration,
Mhm.
and everything since then. I've just built upon sort of previous knowledge. I have no notion of going back to a spinning ball as given, but my own thoughts have Uh, my recent sort of way of putting things is Earth as a whole can be said to be flat in the same way as a tree stump can be said to be flat, only in a very particular sense,
Hmm.
right? I do hold that the spinning ball Earth is absolute fantasy as given, and ultimately that it is all metaphorical, right? There's a greater story told behind the literal story, and needs must all great stories be told this way. Ultimately, everything comes back to us ourselves, the experiencer. And it sort of ties into what I was saying about friends here. We've lost friends, we've lost family because of our points of view.
Hmm.
It's not about any ill intention towards anybody. Me speaking for myself, I'm out to find out what's the true nature of my reality. I've come from a position where I did hold all of what science had to say dearly and close to my heart. The truth was given to me, no matter how harsh and cold it was still the truth. So yeah, we can see that it does affect everything. But my question remains then: is what someone thinks such a primary factor in terms of determining a friendship or a relationship with another fellow being?
For me, no. And to answer both questions, he's the only one I really know in real life who. Matter of fact, it's because of him that I realized people were serious about it. Before that, I just couldn't believe people actually believed that the Earth is flat. I was like, well, I knew him personally. We knew each other for like 10 or 15 years at the time, so I'm like, I know he's not just some stooge playing along. So people actually believe this stuff. And secondly, no, I don't think it makes a difference because I mean, I don't really care what you believe really when it comes to that point. I think I heard somebody say that whether the Earth is flat or not. I mean, no, I think I'm thinking about. I can't remember this guy's name. He was debating with a flat earther, but suffice to say, he said whether the Earth is flat or not. I mean, it's still bad to abuse your kids, and I mean, it's still not good to go to war, and uh, you know, so.
So if the Earth was flat, Darrell, could you see it making a massive difference in your own personal life, your own personal philosophy, your own personal existence?
Well, of course, because but I mean that's such an absolutely moot point that is not. So in other words, it's kind of like saying, like, and I hope you won't be offended. I know some people get offended when you talk about gender or something like that, but it was as if I was to say, what if you were really born a woman? Would that change your perspective? And it's like, there's no possible way. I
Can't,
mean, you've been alive for so
you
many
can't
years.
go
You know,
there,
you
right?
know you're male. Yeah. So it's like, you know, so it's kind of like that. I mean, there's
So,
so much evidence and truth and
right,
experience that, I mean, my very life experience is like, for instance,
okay.
I've had out of body experiences when I've been to the moon. So I know it's there. I've had out of body experiences when I've been
You've been
into
to the
outer
moon, man.
space. Huh?
You've been to the moon.
Yeah, one time out of body. Yeah, there was a base flight.
Darrell, Darrell, you'd be very interested in what I have to say about the moon. Then let's put that. Remember that. And if you, I mean, you're going to be ridiculed for that. By all ballers, pretty much by saying something like that. So that tends to give me a little bit of confidence that you are genuine. Maybe. I mean, by saying something like that, that's crazy talk. Even if it's true, I have no cause to doubt you, and I'd like to hear you expand upon that.
Hmm.
But I certainly have made lots of different discoveries regarding the moon and beyond, which we could probably talk about. And look, ultimately, again, it's our story, isn't it? So whatever's coming from you, if you're coming from a truthful center and you're about the truth, well, good is good enough then, isn't it? Even if we're
No, I don't
wrong.
agree with that.
Guys. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to. I don't want to boot myself. I don't know what will happen. I'm going to start a new hangout because Flat Earth Data has agreed. Um, let me go ahead.
No problem. So
I'm
y'all
going to
about to do
start
a
a new one, and
one-on-one?
I will.
Did
Yeah.
you want me to Did you want me to
Um,
moderate like y'all were saying, or y'all just gonna do y'all thing?
yeah. When he gets in here, I'll clarify everything. Let me go ahead and start a new
Okay.
panel real quick,
So
and
do your
then
thing.
that way I can give you guys the link,
Yeah,
and
that's
you
okay.
guys
We
can
can
get it.
talk deeper at a different time,
We can
Darrell,
talk
or
another
we
time.
can
That's fine.
get engaged in this one. All right, John.
So I'll look for another link.
Yeah, hang on one second.
Yeah, you were getting awful close to the edge of the rabbit hole anyway, Darryl.
Uh, it might seem that way, but my perception, my experience is not based upon just is my personal truth. It's based on things I've tested. So, yeah. So
Well, I mean, you just threw us a loop there by saying not us a loop. I'm just surprised to hear you saying you've been to the moon via
out of body
out of
experience.
body experience. So I would definitely like to hear your retelling of that. And as I said, genuinely, as far as I'm concerned, I've made massive progress in terms of my own understanding as to what the moon is or might be anyway.
All right.
So that would be a point of interest.
Okay, so I put the link in the chat. Um, it should work, but I have to
Okay.
leave here for it to work. So once I
Okay.
leave, you guys can get into it. If worst case you can't, that link doesn't work, I'll put the link in the back chat of this
Right.
one.
Cheers, Shawn.
And let's hear Flat Earth Dad or his whole point anyway, Shawn. All right. Yeah.
I see you all there.
Hey, Darryl. Hey, Blue.
Flat Earth Data. I want you to listen very carefully
I
before
don't
you.
think he's here yet, by the way. I think it's just me and
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm
Oh,
talking to he's in
okay.
the
I
chat
got
right
you.
now. I'm trying to make it clear to him that I'm going to go over what's expected, and so that way you know what's going on, he knows, and everyone in the chat knows, and that way it's not like a big what's going on, and he has no way of BSing a way the stance is going. I'm gonna put the link in the chat now. If I don't care who joins, but you're gonna be muted. Only because I want it to be between me and Five Data to see if he can actually be a fucking adult. All right, I mean we're waiting. Yeah, see, if he's just playing games, I got time for that shit.
Not coming.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna give him 2 minutes. If he doesn't show up in 2 minutes, then I'm gonna end the stream.
Oh, you know how it goes, man. It's hard to get a flat earther to stand behind their words.
This one's by far the worst. It just aggravates out of me. I don't want to get into rules or what I expect, from you and back and forth until he gets here.
Understandable.
I don't know if he's in limbo and trying to get in. I don't know, so we'll see.
But
He's not booted from it, so.
But to be fair, though, since we brought it up, I must say, Stationary Earth Montreal has spoken with me twice so far. So that's somebody I got at least say. He will get on. He will talk with you. He will talk with you again. As you know, Chris Berry, he ran from the start. Fight the
Oh,
deception.
did you end up having that one-on-one with Russ?
Nah, Chris, he ran from the
Oh,
start.
he won't.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
after he posted that message, I posted messages on two of his videos. I popped in channels. He was there, and then of course you talked to him, and yeah, his shoes are worn at the bottom from all that running. But at least Stationary Earth came and talked with me twice. Fight the Deception talked with me once, but he don't want to come back. He don't want any more. But at least
Fight the Deception. He's been jumping around talking crap, but you talked to him.
Yeah,
Shit,
talked to him,
first time I talked to him was on yours. I don't know what's up with
Jesus.
With fight the flat or fight the whatever
flat
deception. For deception.
Oh, you
how you doing, Bandsaw?
What's going on, Bandsaw?
Hey, good man. Good man.
Yeah, it's See, this guy, he's all talk. I'm telling you, like I can tell you, everyone right now, he doesn't have a 10-minute presentation. He has no presentation. He does what he did when he first got on here. That's his argument. That's how he does it. That's not how I roll.
He's a very interesting man, Shawn. He's a very interesting character.
No, he's not. He's not. You want to talk about characters, Pete? There you go. There's your character.
Listen.
Fraud as
let's talk. Let's talk before he gets here. You know how much we could talk about. Do you believe in aliens? Whatever, however we phrase that, reptilians, etc. What's the other possibilities? We'll all admit that, well, you'll admit, regarding a sort of infinite universe, there has to be fundamentals of probabilities tell us there has to be advanced civilizations out there. So these are valid, genuine questions, separately. When they're
It's
combined in
finite,
certain
Pete.
ways,
It's
who knows, right?
finite.
So to make sure I'm
It's
understanding
finite.
properly, he was talking about ET civilizations?
Well, you say they're finite, bandsaw.
I
That's a
did, yeah.
difficult concept, isn't it?
Well, no, it's not difficult. It has to end somewhere. It can't go on forever. It has to end.
Well, you have to define where it begins, first of all. Unless you know where it begins, you can't picture where it may end. You can say to yourself, the best I can do is see the universe expanding and seeing an end to it. But then
Yeah.
you can't imagine the nothingness outside of it because it's not even space, right? Where you can't go there, just like you can't imagine what we're told is something real, which is the curvature of space-time, this commodity, or, yeah, commodity is a good word, right? Because it's selling us something that, well, when are we ever going to get it? It's like land on the moon. We're never going to get that, right?
But just
know.
because I can't imagine a beginning doesn't mean I can't imagine an end. Of course I
Well,
can
it
think there's a
does. It
beginning.
does.
No,
It
of course
does,
I can
man.
think there's a
Because,
beginning.
well, if you haven't got a clear picture of the beginning, you can't understand where you're at now, and then you most certainly cannot understand where you're going to be at the end. And you're not even talking about the end in time. You're talking about the end in space, and also the end in space time as well. It's all confusing as fuck, isn't it? All
Wow.
because bandsaw, all because Bud, they decided, all because Darryl, they decided that the earth beneath our feet is moving instead of something else.
Well, no. You're jumping to that conclusion. That it's
That's where the ball came into being. That's where the ball came into being. They decided that the earth was moving.
Uh-oh.
So when we look at the luminaries, everything seems to be going in a circular fashion. The sun goes low, rises up arc-wise. So something is moving. It comes around. So that's what they did. They decided the earth was moving. First of all, let me just say, they decided the earth was moving, right? Because if the earth is not moving, then the ball would not enter our reckoning based on our universal behavior, our experience with water and its behavior at similar temperature pressures, atmospheric pressures, flat when still. So they decided it was moving, and everything else is stemmed from there. That's the first question that they answered, or they didn't answer in that case.
Well, Pete, they first thought of the spherical Earth about 2,500 years ago. Thereabouts.
That's Aristarchus is the first. Is credited to be the first
Well,
to.
it doesn't matter who it's credited to, but it was first thought about 2,500 years ago.
Yeah,
all right.
I mean,
So
that's a story, right?
But it's not a recent concept. You're saying it's just like a recent concept to cover up things.
But hang on,
it's
that's a
not-
story.
it's not.
That's a story you read somewhere, Ben. So how true is it?
Well, what about the stories you're coming up with?
What does it
Where did
matter?
you get those stories?
I'm just asking you. I'm asking you. Have you a skeptical mind yourself?
But you've got to get your information from somewhere, Pete.
Right.
You can't just make up information. You've got to gather your information from different sources, don't you?
Sure. So how did
Okay,
Aristarchus decide that the Earth was a sphere 2,500 years ago?
Well,
He mentioned it. He mentioned it, Carlos. Well, I did, but he was pointing to Aristarchus.
Well, he probably thought about it. So it had to start somewhere. This is what I'm saying. It's information, isn't it? You've got to gather all your little bits of information and you've got to pull them together. You can't just be selective with one piece of information and not another piece of information.
Absolutely agree, man.
You've got to pull it all together and come up with a conclusion.
Shawn.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree, Banstar. Well said. So, as I ask you again, how do you know
what's up, Blue?
that's true?
Oh, you had a lot of background noise.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Pete. What did you say?
No, that's what I'm saying. We never spoken, I don't think, before. So
No.
that would take a bit of patience as well, just going back and forth. But yeah, how do you know that this timeline is correct or this source is correct? You know.
Well, I have to put my faith in some people, don't I?
Right, and I bet you've
All
read
right.
very little about Aristarchus of Samos.
Well, no, you're right.
And that's okay, man. But that's what I'm saying.
You're right.
So it could be true. It could be true. It's part of an official story,
Yeah.
but it mightn't be true as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're using it to validate your argument somewhat,
No.
If it was that as well established,
Yeah, no, but I was just saying, I wasn't using that alone to validate. I'm just saying the concept of a spherical Earth was thought about 2,500 years ago, but I wasn't using that one piece of information to say that we are on a spherical Earth.
No,
What
I know
what I'm
that.
saying is we pull lots of pieces of information together to come to a conclusion, not just one piece of information.
Sure, sure. And that being the first piece of information that you bring to the table, and funny enough, being Aristarchus of Samos, who's credited for that. If you know anything about me, I guess, I've been speaking about Aristarchus, the real Aristarchus, not the fabricated literary character who was crafted to deliver some sort of clue or set of clues to us. But yeah, I mean, it does come back to, if you say that there's no association between sphericity and movement, I say you're wrong. I say you're absolutely wrong. This is why what I say, I've been saying it for the longest of time, because I know it's the story myself. They've decided that the Earth is moving, first of all, right? And then with that movement, based on that premise, then comes the sphere ball Earth. The sphere ball Earth doesn't appear on its own without movement, because we all have a universal experience with water. It's flat when still.
You just
Well, you can.
Pete, you just proved your own premise. He didn't say any of that. You just want.
No.
That's not
Well,
what
I
he
know he
said.
didn't say
And he
any.
also
I know he didn't say
didn't
any.
say Aristarchus, by the way. He said we had known about it 2,500 years. It may have gone. It may be 50,000 years. I don't know how long people have looked up at the moon and said, "Boy, I bet we live on something that looks a lot like that."
Mm-hmm.
But
It could be 400 years, Big Blue.
it's been documented for at least 2,500 years or so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The first time anybody wrote it down, that at least it's attributed to, and you're correct about that, it's attributed to Aristarchus. But that, for all we know, it happened 5,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago.
Do you believe the story of Jesus?
Hmm?
Big Blue, do you believe the story of Jesus is an accurate representation of historical truth?
I believe it has fuck all to do with the shape of the earth.
No, point being that if a story can be crafted and can be believed by millions, what puts the story of, say, Aristarchus outside of that? What differentiates between
What difference does it make?
story?
What difference does it make? We're not talking about 2,500 years ago. We're talking about tonight.
But you've decided, you see, that one, hang on, Big Blue, you've decided that one is not true and one is true.
No, I haven't. I said it doesn't have a damn thing to do with the shape of the earth, is what I said.
Okay, well, first of all,
nothing to do with that.
it was Banso who referenced 2,500 years ago. I came in with the name Aristarchus because that's who it's credited to.
Okay.
But anyway, forgetting about that, that's what I say. It comes down to movement. So can you say, Banso, that you have experienced the earth to move beneath your feet in any way? So the earth that you're on is moving. Have you experienced that in any way in your lifetime?
Well, I've experienced movement, but whether that is the movement you are referring to, no. Because I know what you're referring to, Pete, as far as movement is concerned. And I don't think any of us experience movement as far as what you are inferring it is, because we only actually feel acceleration and deceleration. You can go on a merry-go-round and all that sort of stuff, and once it reaches its constant speed, you don't actually feel as though you are moving. You would have experienced that yourself. All right?
Sure. So you're saying, but all you're saying is it's possible we are moving, we can't feel it, but it's also possible we're not moving. That's what you're saying, right?
Well, look, things are possible. I will grant you that.
Is it more possible? Is it more possible or more probable that you're not moving, as opposed to you moving?
No,
and if you answer that, sorry, Banso, if you answer that, just when you answer that, I would ask you then, depending on how you answer that question, how would you go about proving it, which is the case? Because we know something is moving, right?
Okay, then. I think it's more probable that we are moving. Okay, then.
On what basis?
Well, just from what I see above me. Well.
So do you know? Have you defined what's above you?
Well, I can only see what's above me. I can't go there. So.
Yeah. So what is above you then?
Well, I can see lights in the sky being the sun and the stars, right? And I can see the moon. Now, I know what your definition of the moon and the sun is, but that's not what my definition is. When I look at the moon, I see shape and texture, all right, and depth in the moon. Right now, you can see this with a full moon on a clear night. You can see it with your naked eye. If you get a decent set of binoculars and you look at the moon, you can see shape, you can see depth, you can see texture on it. Anyone can see this if you're honest with yourself. Right? It doesn't look like a reflection or a hologram or anything like that. Now, once I look at that moon, right, and I see that depth and that texture. Now, yes, I am only looking at a hemisphere. All right, I can only see half a sphere. To me, it looks like half a sphere. So for me, to jump from half a sphere to a sphere isn't a big jump for me at all. So to me, it looks like there is a sphere, right, moving around me, orbiting around me. Right, that's what it looks like to me. Right, that's what it looks like to my kids and stuff. So for me, then to jump from there to think that we're on a sphere ourselves is not a huge. It's not a huge leap. It's not a huge leap at all. And that's what I believe. Now, there are many other people a lot smarter than me, right, that have evidence of this, right? I can't go into outer space and prove these things.
They're the ones who made you believe, and your kids make believe as well. They're the smarter people. They're the ones who made you believe. But
who made me believe?
Smarter people that you refer to. The smarter people that you refer to.
No. When I looked at the moon, I looked at the moon myself. There was no one else looking at it. It was through my eyes.
Have you ever seen water perfectly still? Have you ever seen water perfectly still and perfectly reflective? So when you hold something to it, you see, as you say, all of these textures, all of these features in a perfect reflective form. If you didn't know which way you were looking at, you wouldn't know the reflection from the source. Can you relate to that?
I've seen plenty of water that's still and reflective. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
How would you know? So this is what I asked you. You reverted to the sky when I was talking about Earth's movement beneath us, which is a fair enough place to go to. What else have we to incorporate? So how do you? Okay, let me ask you this: will you admit when you're looking and seeing all these textures? First of all, you need instrumentation. Right? First of all, right? There's a whole story that goes along with the instrumentation. But outside of the instrumentation, will you admit that everything looks near?
No, it doesn't look near. It looks far away.
Man, I don't know where you are. You're in Australia, right?
Yes, I am.
Looks fucking near here in Ireland, and it should look near enough here in Australia as well, because you're at the same sort of distance from the central highest point along the barrier. Everything looks near here, bud, and that's all I can say to you.
No way does it look near. No way does it look near. It looks a long way away.
So I went to and back up from someone else as well. I went to California, and one of the things I noticed immediately was the sky looks fucking further away. I met someone else in Limerick here, where I'm from, someone from Spain. And one of the things they talked about after I was talking about how I was a flat earther and all this is that, when they came to Ireland, the sky looked so much nearer. All the stars, the moon, everything looked so much nearer. And that's for particular reasons. But in general, I think we all got to agree everything looks near enough as opposed to millions of light years away.
Aristarchus.
I would say the clarity looks different. I know when I go to the outback of Australia, the clarity is far clearer.
And everything seems to move in unison as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. What's odd about that, though?
Nothing odd about anything. We're trying to sort of delve into the nature of our reality here, and there's nothing odd about anything. If you can claim to have defined the reality, and if you have the whole truth, well, you're free to do it here. Of course, if there's questions to be asked, if you're confident in your position, you'll be able to answer any question, right? Because you're out for the truth as well, Ben. So not just for yourself. I would say more importantly for your children, right?
Yeah, of course. And everything to me is in unison because it was created.
Nice. Well, I agree with you in a sense, but in another sense, I disagree with you. Everything is created, of course, but we live in a destroyed state of affairs, a destroyed system. Everything is bifurcated. That's where I'm at now. So nothing is natural. So, but we're getting back to it.
But that's a very pessimistic way to look at everything, Pete.
No,
very pessimistic.
No, it's not. No, it's
It
not.
is
We were
actually.
born into. We were born into this division. This is life. This is life. Life is if fell or I fell. Right? You have
Well,
children. Did you
no,
sing Rockabye Baby? Think
you
about
can
Rockabye
choose to
Baby
be
in the lyrics.
divided, or you can choose to be united. That's your choice.
No, no. There's a different
Yes,
story
it
going
is.
on here. There's a different story going on here. But of course, you're going to revert back to, as part of spinning ball heliocentric Big Bang thinking, an evolutionary past,
No, don't put Big Bang
certified
into
and
my
accredited
thinking.
to all of us.
No, Pete. Don't put Big Bang into my thinking.
Well, I apologize then. I shouldn't have
Yeah,
assumed. In general, that is the case, right?
maybe, but that's not in my thinking. Like I said, I think everything was created. That's just my personal opinion.
So
You
we're
know,
created whole. We're created whole, right?
I don't think we evolved from apes or anything like that.
Okay, man.
Don't believe that at all myself. But
Is
that's just
God?
my own personal.
You
Sorry.
believe in God? You believe in God, the Creator? Then?
Well, I believe in a creator. What he's called? You want to call him God? Yep.
Okay.
We'll go with God. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is the Creator divisible?
Well, I think I think he's a very sneaky person myself,
Maybe we all are, right?
and he tests us. He's testing us.
Maybe
This is a
we all
test.
are. Maybe we all are, and we
Maybe
reflect
are,
the Creator. Right?
but I still stand by what I say, Pete. We
Yeah.
can choose to be divided, or we can choose to be united. That is each and every person's individual choice.
Well, I mean, where
Yeah,
do I
he's
start with
testing.
that?
He's testing
Look at
us.
the look at the
Is it
divided.
like God's video game, or are we in like a God
Yeah, he's
simulation?
no. God is
Well,
testing us. He's testing our patience with Pichet.
I don't know why you'd say that. I
Extreme
mean,
test.
I've never spoken to Bandsaw before, so this for me is just a conversation. I
Yep.
mean, I think it's going okay, and as we sort of develop the conversation, things will develop as well. So I
I
don't
will
think they're
evolve.
I'm
well.
just joking. Say
And
hello.
so yeah, well, look, that's what I'm saying. Everything comes back to the movement, first of all, but I absolutely agree in the sense, Bandsaw, there's a creator here, and there's a greater picture here. We are in a divided state, male from female, right? Self from self. The left brain controls the right brain controls the left side. There's a different game in play. What is that game? For me, my bottom line is we are greater beings here, and we're here by consent to learn a lesson. It's only when you stare into the pit of nothingness, right, that you can appreciate the truth in all its glory. And life, in terms of the greater package that is existence, is a tiny, tiny part indeed. That I'm absolutely sure of. So.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't need to, because there's so many other people here. I'll take a little break for a second and yeah. Cheers, cheers for the chat. Yeah, let's continue that.
Too easy. Too easy.
Well then,
As usual, I'm speechless.
Good seeing you around, Bandsaw. You've been busy recently. You've been hiding out. I ain't been seeing you. How you been?
Yeah, good man. Had a few doctor's appointments and
Ah,
and spending some time with my grandson and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, keeping out of trouble, mate.
I feel you. And Shorting this cat. Good to see you, man.
He's getting
Yeah. Sorry, I was muted. I'm furiously preparing for my debate. It's going to happen here in a couple hours
Ah, on what channel?
Oh, cool.
on Fight the Flat Earth.
Ah, awesome. Who is it with?
A guy called Zoom Truth.
Zoom Truth.
Yeah, actually, Craig is about to start a debate here in a few minutes, and I'll be listening to that. And while I do my last minute preps.
make sure you put the link in the chat. Do you have it, or would you rather me do it? Because I know you're getting ready. I can do it if you need me to.
Yeah, it would be easier if you do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, no problem.
Because his debate's going to be useless because he's debating Spurkismo. So it's just basically going to be. I think we all know Spurkismo and how that's going to turn out.
Yeah, it's like debating a laundry hamper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it'll be entertaining enough. And then I don't know how mine's going to turn out because I've never seen this guy debate. I'm familiar with his work, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to make quick work of him. But I've done my homework, so I think it's going to be pretty good.
If I remember right, Schrodinger, you debated Manny on the boat trips of that military guy,
Captain
right?
Cook.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Captain Cook. Yeah.
I remember you came
Um,
prepared, man. You were ready. You did your thing.
that's the key to a debate. And I was telling someone asked me about how to do a debate earlier. I'm no expert. I've done this will be I think my fifth debate, but
Hmm.
you don't so much prepare the information. You prepare to debate that person.
Okay.
So you go back and research that person because if you know it's like a boxer. If you know what he's going to come with, then you can counter it.
What would
So,
you say your purpose of debating is?
uh, well, for me, it's just fun,
Ah,
you know. But if you don't want to go out there and look like an idiot, then uh, you do. You know how, like I said, boxers, MMA fighters, they watch their opponents. They watch the fights,
mm-hmm,
their previous fights over and over and over,
mm-hmm.
and they develop a strategy. And that's what I do. And so far, that strategy has done me well.
Hmm.
So we'll see what happens tonight. I mean, I may go out there and get my ass kicked, but I don't think so.
Shawn, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Shawn and Bansaw, as people who were flat earthers, and now you accept the globe. And I've really actually talked to Bansaw about this already, but maybe he could repeat it for the people here. What effect would you all say those debates had upon you all? Like, what did you say? Like, what like like a debating war kind of debate, or I-1 debate, or I guess I don't know, like how general average debate. What effect did it have on you, letting go of the flat Earth?
Zero.
Hmm.
Mm.
Debates are who speaks better.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Discussions are where you get the facts and information.
Yep.
Same
Yeah,
thing.
Okay,
and
I got
I don't.
background noise, so I'm going to be
Hmm.
muting myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. But um, they're a lot of fun. They're entertaining,
Mm.
and it may sway people who are on the fence.
Hmm.
I don't know that that's a fact that it does, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, and if you're trying to build a channel like I am, then it's a great way to,
Mm. Good eyes.
if right, it gets your name out there. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
self-serving, but I have no issue with that. I mean, which one of us doesn't want a bigger channel?
Mm.
I'm gonna share my perspective
Well,
on it because I'm excited about it. If y'all don't mind
yeah.
hearing, I think it might
Go
help
for it.
several of us. I think. Um, like what I've learned, because I like one thing I don't know if y'all noticed. There's a book flashing on my channel called "Forgiving Be Free," forgiving people who believe the Earth is flat. And I think that's one of the reasons why I first started talking with flat earthers, because it helps me deal with the frustration and anger I felt at these people. For I was like, oh my gosh, how can people believe this? But then I realized, you know, people believe what they want. So what? I mean, and maybe some people don't understand. So really, it's about my own frustration and dealing with that, and being able to have a conversation like today. Me and uh, Stationary Earth. Uh, Montreal had a conversation. It was pretty pleasant. I mean, we didn't come to an agreement, but he was pretty pleasant, and I was pretty pleasant, and I think we presented our evidence on either side, and I think there's enough evidence for people to make their mind. The evidence was about we had a talk the other day about the shadow of the solar eclipse, and so basically he was saying that the shadow is impossible. It's impossible for a shadow to be smaller than the object that's cast in the shadow, and and Banso was there. I drew out the little shadow line things and illustrated and explained it, and it wasn't going anywhere. And but like when I talked to him earlier today, um, just let him have his side. And but I'm starting to learn to go the opposite way though. Like instead of trying to debate the person or beat the person, focus only on the facts. And and I know if I was on the other side, that's what'll change me. I think, and just talking to people who were flat earthers, and who are no longer flat earthers, which is I only know three, which is Bandsaw, Shawn, and Jose. It didn't seem like the debates really did it much. It seems like just the data and the facts and the evidence. Like I remember Jose, he actually looked at the like things disappearing behind the horizon, if I remember right. So so I just been trying to focus on just the facts and the data and letting them have their end. So like I noticed that when I pointed out the fact that um, if you because he was saying we can't do this experiment to scale to see what the shadow is like, so that because we don't have a flashlight that big, and he reasoned himself he can get a smaller object, but he still didn't do the experiment. But a few days ago, when we came up with a way he could do it really easy, just take a ball and hold it out into the sun, which I don't know why I didn't think about that before. He did it, and interestingly, during the talk, I find that if we simply ask them to explain their position, they debunk themselves. So I asked him, did the shadow change size? He said, well, no, it stayed the same size. Then he said it was about the same size. I said, did it change size or was it about the same size? He was like, no, you're talking semantics now. I mean, it's a straightforward question. Did it change size or is it about the same size? And this is what he says. And they actually, my video, that video is still posted up there. I got to cut some stuff out the other one, but for copyright, but that one is still up there. And he said, well, it looks like it's about the same size. He said, I mean, I could do some measurements. And he caught himself right there. Didn't even realize it. He knows it's not a it's
Can
not
I
a
ask a
precise
question?
experiment. Go ahead.
I just want to know why Bandsaw thinks we live in a finite universe.
I just think that nothing goes on forever. That's all. I think there's an end to everything.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Enough answer for me, I guess.
Yeah, simple
I
as
just
that.
don't believe that there's any way to know
Well,
either way
no,
what
I don't think we
the
can.
determination is. I mean,
Yeah. But I just think that if there has to be a start to something, and I think there has to be a finish
yeah,
to
but I
something.
mean, you can
I
go
don't-
into argue
I
it
don't know where.
and say that
Yeah, of course,
well, you can't
of
destroy
course.
energy. So, I mean, there could be an argument
Well,
both ways. I just don't believe that there's a definite
course.
answer either way.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, no. I don't disagree with you. That's just my own personal belief. I don't know it as fact. That's just my belief. But I just want to add to something to what Darryl was saying, or the question he asked. Like I never got into this for a YouTube channel, or growth, or to make a channel or anything like that. But the thing that I've got out of all this is actually the acquaintances and the friendships that I've made along the way, just by talking to people. And I found that the most important part of all this, to be quite honest with you.
That is a good part.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed that.
For sure. For sure.
I
And learning.
Yeah.
And learning too. Learning from both sides. You can learn from both sides, but I think you've got to go in things with open mind, open heart, and all that sort of stuff. And the whole debate thing, I think it was mentioned before. It's an art form to win a debate, getting those gotcha questions and all that sort of stuff. I don't really think that gets anyone anywhere really. It's just brownie points.
Well, we can debate. We can debate.
Shawn, I wish you would present that video that I posted of this group of this science group that takes out a bunch of flat earthers onto some lake and shows the actual drop due to curvature, and they still deny it as refraction of light or something.
Yeah, I saw that
on that video.
See.
I was gonna say if someone wanted to jump off, but I'm tired and shorter cat. How long until you're going up?
Shawn's had one too many smokes.
That's my son in the background.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. What'd you say?
I was asking when you were going to be going up, when you're going to start debating.
8 Eastern.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got some time still.
Yeah,
okay.
I think Craig just started. I'm about to switch over to that. I'm trying to make sure my audio and video and all that my background and everything's right.
Cool. Yep.
I got a new boom for my mic that I'm pretty excited about. Before I had just a little tripod. Now I got a boom. It makes me look like I'm a professional, even though I suck.
Big spender.
I have a boom on mine. Now I realize that it makes me put the damn microphone right up into my face.
Right. Well, mine was $13.50 on Amazon, so I did it on the cheap. But holy shit, it works great.
What kind of mic do you guys use?
I have a Samsung. What's it called? Let me look and see if it says the number on it. It's a Samsung Q2U.
Okay.
It's a USB mic, and it was, I think, only like $40. It's not bad, but it really does help your audio. I'm not speaking to you on my microphone right now. I'm speaking to you on my phone.
I don't even know what brand mine is. It doesn't have a brand name on it. It was it's an Amazon one, but it came like one of those little kits. But
I got mine at Best Buy and it says blue on it. I saw that and I said blue. Blue?
Yeah. Is that
blue?
Blue
Marble?
Blue,
Oh, yeah.
Blue Yeti?
Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Yeti. That's one of the really popular ones.
I couldn't turn that down.
Yeah, that's what I know that I'm trying to think who has a Blue Yeti. So I think Shawn Hufford has a Blue Yeti, and
that's why he's always so deep.
Yeah, a couple of other people have one. It's actually the mic stand that I bought was built for a Blue Yeti. I had to switch out a part on this one to make it fit mine. But the microphone stand I have is built for a Blue Yeti, or the boom. I mean, but it was $13.50 on Amazon, and I couldn't be more happy with it. If you want, I could send you a link. I think I have your email. Actually,
yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I have your email. Do you want a link to it? And I can send you.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Let me do that real quick. And then I'm going to switch over and listen to Craig.
I'm going to jump off because Flatter is on that the chat is full.
Oh, you're roboting really bad.
I'm getting out of here anyway. He had his chance. I'm streaming tomorrow. He can come in tomorrow. But he needs to learn. He needs to show some fucking respect when he comes onto a panel, first off. And then not make excuses for an hour like a schoolgirl. Anybody got anything they want to promote? Shows your cat.
Nope.
We got 2 hours from now.
Debate. Yeah.
A little under.
And Harry, I'm going to send you that link right now.
Okay, that'll work.
All right. Bye, guys.
Yeah, have a good one. Hey, good luck. I won't talk to you.
Are you about to shut down, Shawn?
Yeah.
You mind if I throw up my meet link and we can continue there?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Give me a moment. Let me get this link here.
Hey, Pete. You there, Pete? Dodo, Mr. Pete Dodo.
What?
Are you gonna continue on to your stream, right, Darryl?
Yeah. I'll just continue there and give me a moment. I'll get the
You got the meat
right now. Yes, I have the meat. Where do you want me to put it, Shawn?
You can put it anywhere you want, man. If you want to spam the chat, go ahead.
All right. Y'all want to continue?
Fucking
I'm going to stop
perverts.
in right here. You have to give me a moment to log in, though, but that's the link to join if anybody want to join, and we could continue.
When did Farmers leave?
When did who leave?
Farmers?
A while ago.
He left like an hour ago.
Yeah, he's been gone for a minute.
My bad. What's up, Bento?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Yourself?
I haven't seen you in a minute.
Nah, that's right. Because I'm trying to.
So let's see here. I think this thing is working properly. Oh, that's huge. Hello, Confessions.
What's going on, brother? How are you?
Doing good. Were they saying you were someone else? Did you change your name or something?
Yeah, so I had a channel, Flat Earth Data, and it was a pretty substantial channel, and I just decided to delete it.
Oh,
start over. Yeah.
Interesting. What made you decide to do that?
Well, here's the thing. I don't want to be one of those guys that, you do a video. You do two things for a video. You're gaining subscribers, you're gaining views, you know what I mean? There's an interest there to get the views, right?
Okay.
So what happened was I started to build a subscriber base. And what happened was I caught myself.
Okay, you caught yourself.
Yeah, I caught myself looking at my views and myself going, you know what? I'm just doing the same thing I don't want to do, which is the same thing everybody else is doing, which is basically creating a sub base for money, monetary purposes.
That's right.
And so I was starting to get up to 600 subs, and it's like I'm not in for the money. I'm not in for anything except for searching for truth. And to prove to myself that I wasn't attached to my channel, to prove that even all my hard work I put up there, I could just redo it again and have zero attachment. And that was spawned by a comment I got. So my last video that I released, I played a guitar riff because there's how far you go back into FE, but I've been here since the beginning. And anyway, that's basically what it is. Just not.
Can you hear me, Darryl?
Yes, I can, Big Blue.
Yeah, so not to conform to.
I'm not hearing you.
Oh, interesting.
Basically,
you can't hear me at all. I guess he won't be able to answer that, would he? Hold tight. Let me close this real fast, and I'll be right back and see if that fixes his sound. Give me one moment here. All right, y'all. Can you hear me now, Big Blue? Are you able to hear me, Big Blue?
Hear you. Hey, Darryl.
It was going to Banso. Are you able to hear me?
Yep, can hear you, buddy, loud and clear.
It may be. Well, let me type it out to him. Obviously, you can't hear me. Let me type out. Let me get this thing on the right screen first, though.
Who we got here? Is this Flat Earth Data we got here?
Yes, that's Flat Earth. Well, no, his Confessions of Walking Speech. He's changed his whatchamajinky.
Oh, he's okay.
Yes. So stand by that. You want to change your Big Blue. Oh, Blue. Try closing and reopening. Everyone else can hear me. Can y'all hear me in the stream, guys? On YouTube, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, but
I can hear you fine.
But also, man, I respect that. That's what I was leaning towards in my little Awesome, Big Blue. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can.
Awesome. So yeah, it bugs sometimes. When we tried to join earlier, we couldn't even join. It was a network issue. We had to wait like 15 minutes for it to let us join. So sometimes it bugs. But I respect that. That's what I was kind of leaning towards with I don't focus on debating the person. I just focus on the truth and the facts and what reality is, and I don't mind just.
I have no attachment to any FE personality, any Globe personality, none of that. I got a lot of flack from Nathan for that, and a lot of flack from Riley for that, and same with Arwen. All of that, the whole group gave me flack for that. And I said, I have no favoritism to you guys. I don't care who you are. I have no favoritism to any FE personality or any Globe personality. If we stand back and really look at what we're saying here, we're saying that there's a group of people that basically set up a lie for everybody, right? That's essentially this argument.
Okay.
Are
you saying from the Flat Earth perspective?
Just in general, this whole argument, if we were to set both sides apart, basically one side is saying, hey, look, there's half truth here and half lies. We're going to believe half of it, not all of it. And then there's the other side that says all of it's shit. Not particular. I mean, Flat Earth.
I mean, be specific though. I mean, which side is saying which?
Okay, so generally speaking, if I'm going to use generalities, which is not really good in a debate form to use generalities because they're not specific, right?
Okay.
So the globe portion, right, believes their government and what the government says about space, right?
Okay.
Then there's a section of the community that doesn't believe what the government says about healthcare, about space, about certain sciences. There's a gap there, right? So there's a group of people that claim that. We call them conspiracy theorists, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the coined term.
Okay.
Then you've got a section of the heliocentric group, the space spinning ball group, that believes the government when it comes to space, when it comes to healthcare, but at the same time, they know that the government lies. So it's what at what level do the globe heads start to look at their data and question whether or not it's truthful or a lie, as opposing to flat Earth going, oh, it's a lie right away without even looking at anything. There's two extremes there, right?
Okay.
So the idea is to look at the material from both perspectives. What I've concluded, one is metaphysical and one is tangible. That's really the difference here. Flat Earth is looking for tangibility, and the heliocentric model is metaphysical. The math is metaphysical.
Okay.
You can't. Not a lot of stuff is tangible. So, man, I'm not just on a monologue rant like I get to doing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, at what point does the globe believe what they've been told is truthful and what is a lie? At what point is truthful in the FE community and what is a lie? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When we all set it aside, basically we're setting up as this. There's a group of people that are lying to a group of people, and we've caught them. And now how do we clear the air? How do we go about doing it? And that's why flat Earth is growing, in my opinion. It's not necessarily because the Earth is flat. It's because we're searching for the truth. And through the investigation, the spark of that investigation, you're going to get a lot of people like Blue and Dean come up. You know, these guys are what, in their 60s, and they're indoctrinated pretty heavy. So
you mean Big Blue right there?
Yep.
I object to that concept, but go ahead.
Of course. Okay, well, I'm on the phone, ladies. What is it? 1 second, guys. Oh, not now. Later.
Well,
I hear ya. Later. Later. Love ya. Yes. Later. Thank you. Yeah. Later. Thank you.
To make sure I'm understanding properly, you are a flat earther, right? Confessions.
Can you hear me?
Oh yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm going next to an ice cream truck. They only probably take cash.
Do y'all know how to make this thing change according to who's talking?
No. You guys don't carry debit or anything, right? Yeah, do. Just two ice creams for the girls. Yeah, get them whatever they want. You ask him, he's got it. Sorry, I'm just trying to mute this. So how do you mute this here? I haven't used my phone for this meetup thing. So
okay, cruising. Nice to see you, man. But I'll challenge that proposition, and I understand I may need to say it again for confessions, but because he's dealing with that right there. But it sounded like to me that he was speaking only about flat earthers. Like I find that. Well, matter of fact, I won't put words in his mouth. I'll ask him when he gets back. I'll just wait till he gets back. We'll give him a moment. Let me go through the chat.
What's the question? Just go on and ask me the question while I'm waiting here.
Okay. So hearing you earlier, you were saying that basically flat people who accept maybe you might phrase it believe in the globe have a problem with drawing a line of where to believe the government and where not to believe the government. Basically, that's pretty much sums it up.
Fundamentally, basically what I'm coming to the understanding is that these globeheads don't believe there's a limitation to our abilities, just like the limitation to how far we can go below. There's a limitation to how far we can go above.
In what aspect exactly?
I'm sorry, say it again.
How far we can go below and above, and what is that aspect exactly?
Man's limitations to travel.
To travel, like in the you mean on the Earth?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So we're talking about a different subject now. I'm going back to talking about just. Understand you were interrupted, so it probably I know how things go when you're interrupted and the conversation gets lost. But you were saying basically how you were saying Globers believe this part of what the government says, but then it says the government is lying about this. And basically, the flat earthers are just like dismissing it all and looking for something tangible. Is that correct?
So just to clarify, so basically what I'm saying is flat Earth is one extreme where they say nothing is real, everything's a lie. Then the globe is like, well, no, everything is possible and nothing is impossible. The definitive line between the two paradigms of thought, what part of the flat earther attribute comes into effect that shows the truth, and what part of the globe attribute shows the truth. But there's still a fine line between what is real and what is fake in both models. Right? Am I determining that? No, I'm not saying I'm determining that. I'm just saying that how far does the mind in a globe head go when it comes to space and space travel versus a flat earther? Well, a flat earther says, well, we can't leave the Earth. In fact, the second law of thermodynamics proves that there's not going to be anything to push off up in space. The globe head says, no, we can push off in space. Here's our nozzle. Here's our special rocket nozzle. This is what the rocket nozzle does. Flat earther goes, okay, let me go look for that footage. I can't see any footage of man transitioning from space to non-space, from Earth's atmosphere into space, right? So there's these paradigms of thought that have both extremes of what is possible and what is impossible. Flat Earth is to bring back the reins to these people that have been brainwashing the possibility of like time travel, of like just even the idea of quantum mechanics or quantum leaping. I mean, this is just imaginary metaphysics is what it is, but it's been taught so much that people like Blue believe it. Okay. He believes it's real and tangible.
So
I find that rather insulting, and I'll address it.
Do you think, Blue?
I'll address that when in due time here.
Okay.
But
okay.
I want to put you on notice right now. That kind of talk is offensive. It really is.
And the kind of talk is that your model, I'm assuming it's your model, you're a heliocentrist, so I'm assuming your model, you're offended by...
I'm not a flat tart, that's right. And if you're going to call me...
I'm not calling you a flat tart, I didn't call you anything.
You call me a globe.
I didn't call you anything.
No, you use some term for globe, for...
No, I said that you're most likely in your 60s is what I said, and so the burn is real deep with you.
No, okay? The burn is not real deep with me.
It's very deep in the 60s, okay? It's something I've been studying and researching, the demographics, whether you're left wing, whether you're right wing, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, or 60. There's all a common denominator here. And
you think so?
100%, sir. And you're demographically speaking, and I can destroy you in a debate, no problem.
You believe you kid?
Oh, I know I can.
Try.
I'm on my phone right now, so I don't have the way to share my screen on my phone, but guaranteed I will. And I'll do it in a real high debate forum where I have Dean there, where I have you there. I need the top globe guys, because at the end of the day, I'll destroy you in public in real time. You may laugh, but here's what I'll prove. I'll prove that you can't actually think straight. I'll prove it. And this is a very simple test I'll do in real time. It will prove that you actually can't think straight. It's because you've been brainwashed to think the impossible for so long that the reality is too painful for you. And that's the truth.
That's a nice speech. I like that.
I like
it's a big call.
I like that. I want to see him do it.
So basically, we can set up a date. It'd be nice to have Shawn G there. All the red rhetoric. It'd be nice to have one big thing, because in 5 minutes, I can prove that you guys can't think, all of you.
I don't understand. Why don't you just do it now?
Do it now.
I'm on my phone right now. I'm on my phone right now.
What do you need?
So I need my laptop so I can do videos.
Yeah,
so anyway,
is it a video or something?
So I'm gonna get you all excited for it, because I don't really want to let anybody down here. You see?
We'll pull the video up for you right now.
We can pull anything up.
Tell us what it is.
I love it, but the whole thing is when I have control, I don't have control over my phone. It took me fucking 20 minutes to figure out this stupid Hangouts thing. I need to control my laptop so I can show you what I'm showing, so I don't get obfuscated, don't get shut down. I've already attempted to do this twice already in the past in 2 different Hangouts.
Yeah, gently.
And I got immediately shut down. The last attempt I was on Shawn's show, and this is the third attempt I tried doing it, and I got shut down again. So the point is if I'm going to do it, why don't I have Red there? Why don't I have you there? Why don't I have Bob the Science Guy there? Because the whole point is once I have all of you on board, and you all concede to me that the Earth has physical dimensions, and we all agree on that math, then I will show you in real time how your math and how you can't think is true.
Do you understand the math?
So, now once again, I'm going to repeat myself. I'm going to show you in real time after we get everybody together and we conclude what the actual physical curvature is.
Why don't we just do this? I mean, you're talking about something in the future. Like, what can you discuss or prove now? Let's just do that.
Well, I don't know. I'll talk to Jose. I'll talk to who Jose's
Now, I
channel's
say,
getting
what
more
can you
numbers.
discuss or prove now, like right now with us? If you can't do it now, then we could just talk with others who can talk right now.
Well, I would show you physical evidence.
I mean, now, what do you want to talk about or prove now with us right now?
Well, originally our conversation started out, you were asking me about the difference between flat earther and globe. And I said, the argument essentially comes down to the point there's a group of people lying about our world we live in.
Okay.
Whether it's on the globe side and whether it's on the flat earther side, there's a lie there. Okay. That's what I'm trying to determine by these debates here. The other debate I want to have is to basically have all the top globers come in.
No. Let's go step at a time. So what's this lie you're talking about here? What's the lie?
So basically, the idea is well, the most common question of globe asks is, well, why would they lie about the shape of the Earth? What's the point, right?
No. I asked, what is the lie?
What is the lie? That's the question.
Well, the lie is that you don't come from creation, okay? That it comes from a singular explosion that created.
That's
you're going to interrupt me. You're going to interrupt me. Okay. So Blue, I got. You're going to interrupt me before I state. And I'm going to ask you a question, sir. Was it 1929? Was it 1929? No. Was it 1929?
Okay, he interrupted you.
Why are you cutting me off?
Because
Why are you cutting me off now?
He interrupted you.
Why are you cutting me off now? Don't cut me off and let me finish.
He interrupted you.
Just let me finish. Don't cut me off.
He interrupted you. Now he stopped.
Don't let me.
I stopped him.
Cut me off.
But I actually want to hear the answer to that question. I don't want to keep changing topics over and over. So you were telling us what the lie is. He interrupted you. I'll let him know. Hey, let him answer his question. So now let's finish the answer. So what's the lie?
I understand the lie to be this common theme is that we don't come from creation, and it's dangerous to teach it in schools. Number one, that we come from a singular explosion that created everything, that out of a microbacterial soup, a bacteria created another bacteria and formed this bacteria all the way for 4.7 billion years to get to the point of evolution. This is the lie that I believe we've been fed.
Okay.
The evidences I have against that is the fact that we cannot cross-reference 4.7 billion years, number one. I can't go back in the past. Number three, we're born in the womb. I can create life myself, so I can see the evidence of creation right in front of me. I can date it back to about 6,000 years ago to about tangible materials, written intellectual material. So that's the two paradigms. You either come from creation or you come from a Big Bang evolution. So the lie is to remove yourself from being part of God, being part of a purpose, being part of creation. I can tell you this: I've seen a lot of people.
Well, let's still take it a step at a time now. So make sure I'm understanding properly. You're saying that basically the dynamics or science of the world is basically between people who are trying to say we come from a Big Bang and deny creation, or people who are trying to acknowledge creation. And it sounds like you're one of the people who's trying to acknowledge creation. Is that correct?
I do acknowledge 100%.
That doesn't acknowledge creation. Okay. Let me ask you about this. So, have you ever heard of Cecilia Payne?
No.
Okay. She was a lady who she was very enamored with science and nature, and she studied nature and science, and she studied stars, and she's the one who originally, at least in our era, our civilization, this window of civilization that we have a history for, discovered that stars are made mostly of hydrogen from studying a lot of stars, and she studied them.
Okay, so let's look at the fact that they use that they just use light, and they use light on a spectrum reader to do that. It's all interpreted data at the end of the day, and it's all read by light. So once again, you can say this fascinating, wonderful discovery, but let's break it down nuts and bolts. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. All right, globeheads like to put lipstick on a pig.
Okay.
There is not all it is reading light. Okay, it's an interpreted data, and it's proven incorrect several times over. That's why it takes several people to read the spectrometer to see what the light is.
So so tell me the exact process that she did, so I can make sure that you understand what she did.
She studied light, is what she did. How she received the light and what instrument she used, I don't give a fuck. She studied light. That's all it is. It's a spectrum reader, a spectrometer.
You don't know what she did, is what you're saying, right?
I know that she studied light.
You don't have any idea what you're talking about, is what you're saying.
Listen, you guys like to put lipstick on a pig. There's only 3 ways to have light, okay? There's electromagnetic frequency, electromagnetic radiation, right? and visible light. Do you understand? So there's a spectrum of things that we can't see, and there's a spectrum of things we can see. It's not crazy rocket science shit. There's nothing she can pull out of the air.
Mm-hmm.
Manifest. There's nothing that you can't. There's nothing she can do that you and I can't do. Do you understand? So stop putting lipstick on a pig. The chick just looked at the stars, read on some light graph. Okay, granted it's new. Granted it's new science back then.
Have you ever seen a spectrophotometer before?
Not personally, no. I've seen it on studying satellites, and I've seen it in labs through videos. But in person, have I touched, smelt one? No, I have not. Yeah. But let's when you're being honest in a debate, you're studying light. That's it. That's all that stars light or the frequencies, radio frequencies that are emitting from it. Okay. And when you look at that, it falls on a spectrum. Now, who designed the spectrum? How did light find that? You research all this stuff. You find it slapping lipstick on a pig. It's all it is. Well, it's not beautiful. It's actually dirty, and a lot uglier.
Let's forget about the lipstick and just talk about the pig for a minute. Do you understand that every element absorbs certain wavelengths of light
based on its density or whatever it emits?
No, not density. But go ahead. All right. You do.
Every light wave has different gas, a different amount of gas, different content. It's going to have a different light reading based on the content of the star.
I'm sorry.
You don't need to decorate it any more than that.
Confessions. Obviously, you don't know enough about this to be talking about it. So,
they don't read light. They don't read light, huh? It's all light. That's all.
Yeah, they do. You just don't understand what they're doing.
They don't understand.
Every element absorbs its own specific wavelengths. Its own very specific wavelength of light. And from those absorption bands, you can determine what elements are involved in the creation of that.
Sure, 100%. 100%. That's why it confirms that there's water above me. If there's hydrogen there, there's water above me as well. I understand that. Same thing as what is it called? Somnoluminescence. Basically shooting a sound into a water bubble and producing light. The same thing. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, putting lipstick on this pig, they study light waves. They had to interpret what the light waves meant by doing practical experiments here on Earth, and then looking what's up top to see if they can find similarities.
Bands, you can tell what elements.
Yes, and it wasn't clockwork, dude. They had to do trial and error, and they're still doing trial and error to the fact that yes, it is. In 2019,
you can find those same elements right here.
You're so disingenuous. You're so disingenuous, dude. In 2019, when they shoot the light radiate, when they shoot lasers into the atmosphere, into the sky, and get the information back, because that's all they're doing is shooting light into the sky, guys, from the ground up.
What are you talking about?
Are you just being a disingenuous fool? All the ground-based towers.
Hold up now.
That's enough of that now.
So if you want to talk science and you want to talk evidence, that's fine. But you just call my guest a disingenuous fool. That you got to stop that. If you're going to continue that, you probably should just leave, because I'm going to boot you. So I don't mind talking science. If you disagree with what the science is, that's fine. But you don't need to insult the man. So so to a certain extent, I can understand, because I'll sit here and I'll say, globe people don't read and don't do experiments, and I was talking about Charles himself. I told him your understanding is so poor, but anybody who watched the video could understand that, right? But there's nothing about what this man said that seemed disingenuous to me. He's literally talking about the way that they do the experiments and what it means. So can we agree that you will not throw insults like that, and we could just continue in the cordial fashion?
Yeah, here's the difference between insulting and when a guy is being disingenuous. When you're talking about something,
and
he goes, hold on, he goes on, he goes to straws man me right away. He straws man me. He says, you don't obviously know enough about the experience.
Tell me what he said that was disingenuous, or what he did that was disingenuous. What was disingenuous?
Well, you obviously don't know enough to talk about this subject. He says, first of all, he doesn't know my background at all. So he's already attacking my character. So I'm going to attack his character.
So let's be clear. So let's be clear. What have you read?
They study light. They study light. That's all it is.
You already said you.
That's all I pointed up to.
No. You already said you never saw a spectrometer.
Just on videos. Just in the labs on videos.
What actual research have you done into the process as they explain it?
Enough to understand that most of it's metaphysical, and that they work outward in.
Okay, so where did you do that
probabilities
research
they work.
No.
Probabilities they work backwards in.
So right now, what I'm trying to do is establish your basis that he's being disingenuous. So we're gonna first understand how much you understand about it. No. I'm asking you questions right now. I'm asking you questions right now. What's the source that you got that information from? The amount of information.
Anybody who studies spectrometry will see that it's a study.
No. I'm asking, what source did you get that from?
What source did I get? What? Just Google spectrometry.
So-
I can't even say the fucking word now.
Okay. So
Just
to make
go
sure I'm
Google
understanding
it.
properly, you Google spectroscopy and that's how you learn. How much time do you say you spent? No. Okay.
So I've been doing this for 3 years now, dude.
No, we're talking about right now. We're talking about spectroscopy. We're talking about the time that you put into learning about what actually spectroscopy is and how it works.
So
How much
what
time?
I've learned about it,
No. Right now we're talking about where you learned it from. So
what
you
I've
said,
learned, I've seen guys who play guitar for 10 years can't play guitar as good as
so
me
right
in 2
now
years.
we're
So it
talking
doesn't
about
matter.
where you
That
learned
shit
it from.
is nonsense.
Right now we're talking about
The
where you
point
learned
is,
it from.
you're obfuscating. The point is, it's a study of light.
No. Right now we're talking
I'm on
about
the
where
phone.
you learned it from. So where did you get? What's the exact source you got that information from?
The exact source right now, you want me to dredge it up right now? I don't have my laptop, but I've
Yes, you
got
can. Just tell us what
tons of
that source
videos.
was. So you said
It's a
video.
general source of any science information regarding the study of light in space. Do you understand? And how they did it. You can find out. It's a sensor. Do you understand? It's a simple sensor that is absorbing light.
So let me
okay,
ask you
that's
this.
all it is.
So you're saying he was saying that you didn't study it
Very
enough to
pathetic,
understand
actually.
it. You're saying that you do it. They're just putting lipstick on a pig, and you know enough to understand it to dismiss it in that way. So let me ask you.
I know enough to understand that the way they dress it up is not so fantastical as it makes it sound. In reality, sir, all it is a sensor on the ground here. Do you understand? On the ground, pointed up towards the sky, bringing in light waves. So what they do, they study the pattern. They study the pattern of light waves.
So now I'm starting to
It's that
understand
easy.
why. Now I'm starting to understand why Shawn muted you or did whatever he did. So
you don't understand shit.
We're trying to get to.
You're being an idiot as well. Listen.
You gotta go.
At the end of the day,
you gotta
you're
go.
being an idiot.
You gotta go.
What you do?
I understand why Shawn.
Everybody's dumb but you.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I've only studied it for a little while, but I've studied enough to know that they don't. I mean, you already know Big Blue. So,
bringing up metaphysics.
Yeah. So when we was trying to get to actually where he learned from, you heard him. I just Googled and I watched the video. He's just another YouTube warrior just spouting some stuff. But I was about to start asking detailed information about what they actually do about the orbits of the electrons of atoms and the photons they absorb and how that changes the lines that we see. But I think he felt it coming and he couldn't stand just having a civil conversation. So.
Well, you see where he's coming from. He doesn't want to talk about the science or the physics. He wants to have a religious argument.
Exactly. So. But I think because he some part of his mind he must know that he didn't really read it enough to understand it. I mean, I only been reading it just for about a week, but I actually went to authentic sources. Like I've been reading Stellar Atmospheres by Cecilia Payne, and it's clear that they're not just studying light. There's a lot more in depth going on there. So let me look at these comments here and see what's going on. And
spectrometry has been going on for a long time. A lot of people understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And every element has its own absorption bands.
Yeah,
and that's what you see when if you put enough stuff in the fire. No matter what you put in there, you can break out the absorption bands and figure out what the elements are. Mm-hmm. And that's what they do with a telescope. They run the light from the telescope through the spectrometer, and you get what you get. And it doesn't lie. It can't lie. And you can see all that stuff from every element in the universe is right here on Earth. We know exactly what each one of them does.
That's right. But apparently he's never going to open his mind up to even consider that. He's Googled on YouTube and saw some videos, and he knows enough to dismiss a few hundred or a few thousand years of science.
Well, this is what the universe.
Well, this is what leads them to believe that they've been indoctrinated. They never got in their education. They never got beyond the rote learning portion of it.
Okay.
They only made it through the monkey see, monkey do. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 × 3 is 6 part. Mm-hmm. They got through that part. They never got to the part in their educational backgrounds to the understanding level of understanding how things operate. They don't teach us, every possible algebra problem in the world. They teach you how to solve an algebra problem. They teach you how to set one up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the further you go in your education, the more that becomes on you to understand the material, not just memorize bullshit.
That's right.
That's what insults me. when they start trying to tell me I've been indoctrinated. No, I wasn't. I was educated. I was given the ability to understand these things, not just memorize shit.
One thing that helps me not to get frustrated with that, because of course I will be included in that as well, since according to him I'm a glober, and I did hear him throw that epithet, globe, something. I know what you mean. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he did throw
Globetard is
one
what he
out there,
called.
something like that.
Globetrot, yeah.
Yeah,
They
but
call us globetards.
yeah, but the fact is, uh, like you said, and that's what I was leading to with Cecilia Payne. She didn't just believe what anybody told her. She studied and brought new information. So it just amazes me that they throw all these people into this lump, and it's like these globetards, and they just believe what they're saying, and they're spreading this lie when they have no idea of the investment that these people had in actually studying science and studying nature, and it just amazes me. Um, so when they say stuff like that, it lets me know that they're indoctrinated. That's the most amazing thing about flat Earth. They're so indoctrinated that as part of their indoctrination, they're not indoctrinated, and everybody else is. But as we saw when we went into at least when I was going into the details of what he learned from, he couldn't really say. I googled and he started talking about watching some videos. I mean, what? So obviously he's just believing whatever. Obviously he didn't look into it in depth because you and I have looked into it enough to know when somebody doesn't know what they're talking about, and that's what I was going to lead him to having to admit. I think that's what made him start to get belligerent. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you could hear somebody talking about a topic. If you know about the topic, you know that obviously you need to look into it a bit more. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But the saddest thing is they're so indoctrinated that they believe, like you said, everybody else is indoctrinated but them. Nobody else knows but them. It's scary, man. That's one reason why I started. I think I look into the subject as much as I do now to remind myself of the pitfalls of believing something. Just you have to really base it on evidence and not just. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's a scary. It's scary to believe that people are in that mindset. But it's scary, man. It's scary.
Tell you what scares me is talking to a guy like that and hearing his kids in the background.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even
Sorry. Now that's the real reason I do what I do, Darryl. I mean, I could honestly give a shit one way or the other what that guy believes. I don't care. He can be as ignorant as willfully ignorant as he wants to be, and that suits me just fine. It bothers me that he can influence little kids.
Mm-hmm. I did have that thought about that friend that I was telling you about, who's no longer a friend, but he has like I believe 2 kids. I'm pretty certain he's teaching them this nonsense.
Yeah, they don't have any clue what kind of emotional damage they're doing to their children if they're teaching them this bullshit.
Yeah.
Because they're going to go to school saying, "My daddy said the Earth is flat,"
Yeah.
And
once they realize that,
they're going to get ridiculed and laughed at, and it's going to leave some emotional scars.
Yeah.
And you don't really know how bad that might be. I mean, that really is that's the danger in all of this to me.
Not to mention and you want to say something about it, Loken?
No, I mean like once they probably like realize that their father is wrong or their parents are wrong, and be like, oh shit, my fucking parents are like crazy.
Yeah.
That's another like angle of it.
Yeah, nothing good is going to come from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nothing good comes from
it. And cruising with Jay says they'll get laughed at and bring on the bullies. Welcome back, Shawn Hawkins. That was a good talk earlier, man. Montreal agreed as well. Love when the religious jealous can't see that they are the most indoctrinated people on the globe. That's from Dark Seed. To right, Dark Seed. Easy to produce. Yep, his flat Earth data, and he admitted it. He's not hiding it, but that was flat Earth data. But yeah, he was starting to be just disrespectful and rude and avoiding talking about the data. I was talking about earlier, man. All you have to do is ask them questions about the data and the facts. So far, no one has been able to withstand it. Even him saying, what did he say? He said he was going to prove all of us we can't think. What did he say? He was going to just bring us all on this big panel and show we can't think and our logic is bad. And apparently he could dismiss all of spectroscopy because he's Googled a few things and watched a few videos. It's crazy. I was talking with who was it? Montreal the other day, and he had said, this is one of the things he said. He said, you know, tell me if you was going to make some kind of, you know, ship or a vessel, what would you put on the outside? You know, what would you put on the inside? And he was trying to lead us to say that we won't put anything on the outside, like we wouldn't put our radio controls on the outside of our car. And he's like, the people are always on the outside of the ISS fixing things, and that don't make any sense. He says 98% of the things on the outside will be better on the inside. They don't need to be there. So I said, cool, man. I said, let's talk about it. Name one thing. What's one thing on the outside that's better on the inside? Crickets.
Yeah, couldn't
Crickets.
name one.
But what do you mean? You said 90% of the things. Just name one. He said, well, I know there's solar cells. Well, like, we all agree that solar cells need to be on the outside, excluding the one thing we all agree should be on the outside. Because you said 98% of the things, they're always out there fiddling with things. It must be fake or what have you. Name one.
He thinks NASA and all these countries are just like making components
just to do it
for no fucking reason.
Yeah, just to make a video.
Come on. It costs a shit ton of money to send up.
That is just hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, these nitwits couldn't change out the flush valve in their own toilet, but they know how to design a goddamn space station.
Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, not even that, Big Blue. They know how to design a space station when they have no idea what's on it except solar panels. You have zero idea of any component, but you can design it better. It's crazy. But he wouldn't even admit it at first, man. They had to boot him. It was so frustrating. It's like, dude, just answer the question. If you don't know, just say you don't know. But he came back and he finally admitted it. But so, and on and on and on. Fight the Deception was on a few weeks ago. And he tells me, the ISS is fake. Here's proof. Here's a video. There's wires in this thing. And he shows me the video. I said, dude, I don't see any evidence of wires. He could have just put one leg down than the other. Where in the video is there's evidence of wires? There's proof to me. Well, that means there's not proof. If it was proof in the video, then we should be able to see it. Point out in the video where there's evidence. Let's go to the next one. Then the dude flipped over and he moved his arms. Look, he just moved his arms. Where's the evidence of wire? He had to admit there's no evidence of wires in the video. All he has is the video. He didn't go to the ISS. All he has is this video. He had to admit there's no evidence of wires in the video. But before that moment, it only took, 2 minutes? Benso was there. It only took like 2 minutes of logical thought. And he had to admit there's no proof. But up until that moment, he believed in it enough to use that video as evidence in the debate. So this is, and as you can see, your boy, what is his new name, whatever, he exhibited the same logic, making these sweeping claims with an infinitesimal amount of investigation. So it's really sad, man. It's really sad to see, even beyond just what they're saying to their kids. I mean, imagine if their kids don't grow out of it or whatever. And imagine, I mean, if somebody believes the earth is flat, the most thing I would hire them to do is like cut my lawn or something. Like, would you want somebody fixing your car or, I'm saying, right? Or operating on you? I mean, flying your plane? I mean, I don't know.
Darryl, true believer. I don't want you near like my house.
He's calling you out, Darryl. He's calling you out. You didn't watch the whole video.
Oh, who is that?
Fight the Deception.
He's in the chat right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's calling you out.
Oh my gosh.
Join up.
We've already had 6.5 hours of this. We can't do another 6.5 hours.
Oh, the flat Earth never sleeps.
Where's he at? I don't see him. Where's he calling me out at?
In the chat.
I see it now. I'm sorry. I missed it through the chat. So let me see what he says.
Yeah.
That's funny. My kid schools the science teachers. He knows both sides of the argument, not just the sides you guys are promoting. You didn't watch the whole video, Darryl. I see it. Thank y'all. Thanks y'all for pointing that out. And I'll try to always scroll through and get all the chats if I miss some. You're a runner, Fight the Deception. So whatever it is you wanted to present, we could have presented again, and you didn't want to come on again. So
you had 6.5 hours.
Yeah.
That was more than enough time.
That's another part. Did you guys ever see that movie 50 First Dates?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I do.
Yeah. Do you remember 10-second Tom? Well, that's the way the flat earthers are. They're just
You're
like
right.
10-second Tom.
Yeah, you're right, man.
You prove it to them, and they go away. If they ever go to sleep and wake back up again, they have fucking forgotten everything that you did.
Oh my gosh!
Everything. You got to start over again.
Yeah, I had to save bandsaw from that the other day. Remember that conversation with Montreal?
Yeah.
The same exact argument. When I was on Shawn G's channel, the dude pulled up the same vacuum channel. It was like, we already covered this. What are you bringing up? The release valve is not working. The same exact. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, man.
You're,
And they literally
you're
believe
harsh,
they.
Blue.
Go ahead.
Blue, you're so harsh. I was just going to say, Blue, you're so harsh.
But I tell you what, guys. I tell you what. To be fair, fight the deception. If you want to come on, let me post the link. And he wants us to. We didn't watch the. If he wants us to watch the rest of the video, I mean, I don't mind. We can stop it whenever we want. I mean,
What's your,
well, I
hey,
don't know.
Darryl, what's the name of your channel?
It's my name, Darryl E. Berry Jr. Yep, that's the name of the channel. And yeah, that is it's called the show is called Realizing the Shape. Because I actually didn't want to alienate the flat earth believers, so I didn't want to say realizing the globe or something like that. And but at the same time, I believe that I figured I could use that title as sort of a one for all. So I'm talking about stars. We're talking about realizing the composition of stars, or realizing the level of logic of flat earthers, or whatever the case is, or sometimes realizing the shape of the globe and actually talking about the shape of the planet. So yeah, so my channel is Darryl Lee Berry Jr., same as my name, YouTube/Darryl Lee Berry Jr. And I schedule myself 3 times a week, but as you can see, I'm on a lot often because actually, I guess I find it fun, and it motivates me to study science. Like I don't think I've ever would have studied Cecilia Payne if I wouldn't have met flat Earth believers. And I never would have bought a telescope. I bought my own telescope and looked at Jupiter and looked at Mars, and I went and saw
Oh, nice.
yeah, man, I wouldn't have drove 3 hours to see the solar eclipse, and that shut them up immediately when I got back from my solar eclipse. I went and saw it myself. So some who had certain arguments, they had to just shut up because they would the arguments they made just it's impossible. According to the alchemist, it would have been impossible for me to see. But
Let's see.
so it's cool.
Let's
What's
see,
going on,
Darryl.
cruising with Jay?
Hey, Darryl, how you doing?
Hey, doing good, man. Hanging in there.
Thanks for letting me jump in and say hello.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Thanks for joining. Yeah, we're just having a ball, just talking about the limits of flat Earth logic.
Yeah, I got you. I missed a lot this past week, man. I've been super busy with this new job. Just having a blast.
But we established the other day, Darryl, that they're not willing to do the most simplest of experiments to prove anything to themselves.
That's right.
We really did establish that. So,
well, when it's simple enough. I mean, to be fair, stationary Earth. That's what I learned today. That means the SE stationary Earth. Montreal came in. The other day I told him you could just get a ball, and he did that. Matter of fact, I can show you the video. I'll bring the video up. And he was like, "Well, this proves that the shadow doesn't get smaller, whatever." I was like, "Okay." He wanted my response. So I said, "Okay, 2 things." I said, first thing, you when we had that discussion a week before. And you're the one who said, well, we don't have a light source big enough to make it to scale. And I had him admit that you can get a smaller object. And he didn't do it. And I realized it was because it was just too much work and effort. That's why he was trying to get me to do it. And it's on the video. And this week he tried to have the same discussion with you. I mentioned the ball. But he did the ball right away. And I said, look, you didn't have to go buy a ball, did you? He said, no, I had a baseball. So I said, so that shows me that the limits of your effort, your willingness to actually make changes, to actually investigate and do experiments or make observations. That's the first thing. And I said the second thing, you said in his own explanation, he said at one point he said the shadow stays the same size, and another part he said is about the same size. So I said, which one is it? Same size or about the same size? And he said, well, I could just say it's about the same size. And then he says, I could do some measurements. It's like, what the? Why would you not do measurements? If you're talking about this. Huh? Go ahead, man.
I could, but I didn't do the measurements.
Exactly. So it's like, it's inconclusive. The shadow gets fuzzy. You're not going to do measurements? So I just let him have it, man. I was like, okay, we can disagree to disagree. So obviously he's not willing to do enough to really, really find out the facts and the details. And he was saying, well, the shadow should be smaller because the moon shadow is like, he asked me the size of the moon. I know he was going. And we figured out, I looked it up, it was like 2,000 miles across or whatever. Well, it's 2,000 miles and the shadow is this small, so why is the baseball shadow should be this big? Oh, okay, well, we could disagree to disagree. I'll let you look into it. But somebody in the chat said he's not doing it to scale. You got to bring this baseball up about 2 stories or 5 stories or whatever. But it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But that just goes on to say, even then, he's only willing to do something that requires just the least amount of effort, even though he's trying to established truths of a very existential and far-reaching nature. It's just amazing the level of laziness, and that's why I think they keep throwing out. Why don't they go ahead and put the camera and face it up, or why don't you go ahead and do the experiment, or why don't you let this guy go into the chamber, because they're too lazy to do it themselves and do something
but
real.
even though
Go ahead.
Even though he did the experiment, though, Darryl, he only partially did it.
Exactly. But I mean, I give him his
follow.
props,
He
though.
didn't follow it through, though. He didn't follow it through.
But
like, if he really wanted to follow it through,
he would have measured it.
He exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah. But to give him his props, though, me as someone who understands the umbra and penumbra, looking at it, it's clear the shadow gets smaller. You can see the penumbra start to expand, and you can see the umbra start to decrease. It was, and I never told him it was going to get the size of the moon. It's on recording. I simply told him. He said, "Well, predict what's going to happen." I said, "You can get a smaller shadow because the sun is bigger." It's on. I watched it again. That's exactly what I said, and that's what he got. So if ever he decides to measure it, he'll be able to see it gets a little bit smaller. But I doubt he will. But give me a moment. Let me show his video so y'all can see what I'm talking about. I mean, put it like this. I still give him his props. He still actually did something. If he understood it, if he took the time to research it and didn't do like whatever that guy's name was and just watched a few videos, if he actually researched it and understood the umbra and penumbra, that's why I was able to draw for him, because I looked into it enough to understand how the shadow works. If he did that, he'll be able to look at his own video and validate that what it's doing. But again, I don't think he will. But it's enough to anybody to see what's going on. I'll present it right now so the people in the chat can see it. Give me a moment here, and we can talk about it. So, present a window. Boom. 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 So, check this out, guys. So, this is his. Is everybody able to see it in the chat?
Yeah.
So this is.
I can see it.
Awesome. So, go ahead.
It's not in the YouTube chat.
Oh, it's not?
No. You might want to drop the link there so people can see it or present.
Well, they can actually see it, though.
That's better. That's better. That's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Hit the back button many times.
So this is C Montreal's evidence for the fact that the shadow stays the same size, and I still commend him for doing something. All right, he didn't fully do it, but still I give him respect because he did do something when so many don't do anything at all. It took the least amount, but he did something. So here it is. Oh, and I'm actually clicking the hangout instead of the actual video. Okay, here we go. So there's the baseball on the floor. He's picking it up, seeing if the shadow lessens, and he has it up. What would you say? That's about 4 feet, 5 feet, about 5 feet in the air. Looks like it's about head level now, according to the shadow. Looks like it's a bit above head level. Maybe it's 6-7 feet right now. And you can see the penumbra starting to show the fuzziness. And then he brings it back down. And he pretty much does the same thing again. Thanks for sharing that link, Big Blue. Let me pull up Big Blue's link. And we'll
get that take that second one. That first one is broken. That second, take that second one.
Okay.
This is a really neat demo.
And I'll let his video play the whole way through Fight the Deception. I'll let it go the whole way. It's only a minute long, so it's going the whole time Fight the Deception. All right. All right, there we go. He brings it back down. You can see the shadow get sharp again. The penumbra lessens greatly because it's so close to the ground. So, boom. So that's his video. So he did something. Thank you. But anybody who understands shadows can see that the umbra got smaller, even though by not that much because they wouldn't raise that high. So Big Blue here posted this video, and we're going to see I guess a more accurately done performance. So let's take a look here, see what's going on. So this guy has a pole, and I could actually play the sound for the people.
Y una cinta métrica.
Well, it's in Spanish, so.
Hey, buenas. Hemos venido aquí al campo para repetir el experimento del eclipse artificial que hizo.
At first, I thought it was some kind of rap that was too fast for me to understand, but yes. But we could take a look and actually see what it looks like.
So he's got a little globe, and he's got a piece of unistrut or something that he's got a tape measured in stretched down the top of. And he's got a little ball up here on the other end. Okay, now there we go.
Oh my gosh!
So
Look at this.
There's the moon casting a nice shadow on the Earth, but the Earth's way too close. So he starts moving it back to see what's going to happen. Now watch what goes on. This is cool.
This is neat, man. He took it next level. I wasn't even thinking about this.
Yeah. Now you start to see the umbra and the penumbra forming.
You can see the umbra getting smaller. Yeah, he took it next level, man.
Now
already you can see that shadow is smaller than the object.
Way small.
Look at that.
Oh, man,
that's amazing.
So neat, man.
That's amazing.
Oh, Big Blue.
Now,
rest in peace, Flat Earth.
The next shithead that says it can't happen, show him that video.
Wow.
Bang.
It is literally a globe. Literally.
But now he's going to do it with something else that's equally interesting. He does it with a piece of paper.
Okay.
Which it looks like he's drawing grid lines on about maybe 1 centimeter centers or something. And if you want to pause the video as you go down I don't bother doing it, but the people that wanted to try to measure the
to see where he's at right there.
Yeah, he showed you how far down he is.
And I'll make the video a little bit bigger after I play this and come back. I'll look at the comments, guys, and we can see what y'all think about it. Hopefully, I don't get a copyright flag, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to do a copyright flag thing.
No, I don't think so. I used it in one of my videos.
Awesome. So this is the one with the paper right here?
It smashes it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You literally have a moon and a globe, and it looks pretty to scale.
Yeah, it's not too far. It looks like his moon might be a little small.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, my gosh. He has the grid lines. You can see the actual size of the shadow versus the object.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man, he's next level. You could see it literally getting smaller and smaller the more you get to scale. But I didn't even bother about those details. His only argument was simply that you can't possibly have a shadow smaller than the object, but it don't matter how small it is, right? But this one is a whole lot smaller. But I mean, even his video is just a little bit smaller. But yeah, this is
well, he's just not far enough away.
Yeah, but I didn't even bother telling them, man. I'm gonna stop trying to do their work for them. They're not gonna accept it anyway.
Look how little that thing. The actual umbra of that thing would be tiny.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it. It's right there. And the penumbra, you notice the penumbra got bigger.
Oh, yeah. Penumbra's still, penumbra's not quite as big as the original was, I don't think, but getting there. Anyway.
That smashes it.
Yeah.
Fight the Deception, Southeast Montreal. Check it out.
Awesome.
I thought you guys might like that.
Oh man, that was beautiful, man. I'm gonna post this in the chat, and then I'll scroll up and read the chats, guys. We can see what's going on. And if anybody wants to join, I'll post the link to this again as well.
So just help this guy out. We'll scoot over to his site. I'll put that in.
Hey, I mean, I'll give you his name. You're welcome to do so, but I'm gonna stop trying to do it, man. Oh my gosh, they're gonna kick me out. Give me a moment. I'll be right back. My meat done crashed. Back, my meat done crash. Yeah,
Son,
his name is SC
Montreal.
Yeah, I can get his channel for you.
I don't give him any ideas, Blue.
I missed it.
Don't give them any ideas.
What was the idea?
I've asked this dude questions in the chat, and he just kind of dodgeballs it a little bit.
Oh no! Hold on, let me see. Let's go to it. So, come on, fight the deception. Okay,
Yeah,
of course he dodges, man. Me and
As they say, a
Vance
picture's worth 1,000 words.
Oh yeah. The way I see
Or
it,
a coherent thought is worth 1,000 flatards. How's that?
Let's scroll up here. So I'm gonna try to get you a lot of these questions. Give me a moment here. I'll take a look, see if something sticks out. Shawn Hawkins, he overtalks people, insults, and gish gallops to mask his ignorance.
Yes.
That is correct, Shawn. Talking about your boy from earlier.
It's much easier being able to use the chat on my computer as opposed to my phone.
Awesome. Repeat, brother. I'm scrolling through. I'm at 549.
Y'all still hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay, I thought I lost connection. I was just kind of dead air there for a moment.
No, I'm just Googling something.
Shawn Hawkins says you can't disprove the globe. You can't disprove flat Earth. You don't understand anything, and you can't answer any questions. What good are you?
Yeah, because I've got a question for Blue about friction in space. I've been having this conversation with a few people. Friction in space, and there's no friction in space, or very, very little friction. Now, when you're talking about Halley's Comet, right? It's got a tail. Okay.
Yep.
Now, to me, there has to be a bit of friction for that tail to be formed. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, not really.
So I'm wrong.
I don't think it does. I don't think you require any friction. That's just the pressure, pressure of the sunlight. Yeah, the temperature causing the thing to off gas to begin with, and then the pressure of the sunlight blowing it backward away from the sun.
The pressure of the sunlight.
Mm-hmm. Sunlight has pressure. It actually has pressure.
Okay, there's something new.
Easier known as solar wind.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the idea of the whole using a solar sail for a spaceship is. Like this vast, huge, super thin, super strong solar sail, and you would move your ship across with the solar wind.
Okay.
And you kept doing it. Eventually, at one point, you could reach some pretty crazy speeds.
Yep. That's what causes it, though.
Awesome. It looks like oh no problem, gentleys. I know they didn't mean it.
That's what causes the thing to have a big old tail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Friction wise, it would. It always has to be a small amount of friction. I mean, there's an occasional gas molecule every so often out there, that anything's going to run into, but not very much.
And Shawn right there says that's why sometimes it looks like it's flying backwards. Is right.
It looks like what's flying backwards?
The sun headed back out. The tail's backwards.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It's always pointed away from the sun.
This is
what was that big ass comet that was in like 94, 95 that you could see it clear as day with your own eye?
Hale-Bopp.
Was that Hale-Bopp? That thing was massive, man.
That was Hale-Bopp.
That was cool to watch. I got to see that for a few days.
Oh hell yeah, that thing was big. It was huge.
Monster.
This is my and looking at the chats, it looks like there was just a lot of banter going back and forth between Shawn, Hawkins, and Fight the Deception. I wouldn't mind having both of those on, and if y'all want to do a debate. But since you've passed up your free debate where we could just debate Fight the Deception, if you ever change your mind and want to come again, this is what you can do. Because your video says that the Himurari is a satellite in geosynchronous orbit, you need to admit that since you're using that page as evidence, and then we can talk again. So once you admit that the Himurari is actually a satellite in geosynchronous orbit around the globe Earth, once you admit that, then we can go ahead and talk. No problem, Shawn. We can go ahead and do it another time. So, what else I want to chat about, guys?
Well, my discussion didn't last as long as what I thought it was with Blue, as usual.
Sorry. I'm so sorry, Benson.
Yeah, you're right, buddy. You're right.
I'll help when I can.
They last a lot longer.
I'll help when I can.
So Loken and Cruising with Jay, what's y'all stories? I don't think we've ever really talked too much on voice.
Oh, I'll let Loken start first. I'll catch up.
Yeah, I'm just I started following like this movement. I'm sphere, earther, whatever you want to call it, reality believer.
Globetrotter.
Yeah, I'm a globetrotter, and I started following it probably like 2.5-3 years ago, and I've just been kind of observing, and I've just started it to join Hangouts, in the last like few weeks or so.
Yeah,
and it's just fascinating. That's all.
It is. It's very fascinating to think that way. It's just like it confuses the hell out of me.
Do you find it frustrating, Logan, following the scene?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm like, fuck, man. Like, it's like almost unbelievable. But the thing is, like, I've actually seen a group of like 6 flat earthers like talking to each other out in public, and that's when I was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. It actually hits you that is real, right? That people actually
because in the beginning, because that happened like 2 years ago, Because in the beginning, I was like, "There's no fucking way! Like they're all trolling or whatever,
Man,
you
that's
know?
what I thought as well, man.
Like there's just it can't be that way. I mean, of course, there might be like a few people that are just, you know, just not mentally capable of understanding. That's fine. It's not no fault of theirs. But fuck, you know."
If I wouldn't have known, and then maybe that was my denial as a globetrotter, as they might say, because it was hard for me to accept that people actually believe the world is flat. But I knew somebody personally that did. I knew he wasn't just trolling or just trying to get views or something. I knew he really believed this. I'm like, man, these people really believe this stuff. I'm sure there's some trolls out there, and you know, I've heard rumors about this or that person, but definitely there's people that believe it. What about you, Cruising with
Yeah.
you?
Me? Oh, I definitely know. I know it's a freaking globe. I'm up high enough in altitude to see it, and it's like, yeah, just the general understanding, like the information that I was taught when I was growing up as a kid, makes sense. And there's really no way to just kind of. I just could never throw that away and immediately think the Earth is flat after all the stuff I've been taught and all the stuff I've learned, and the things I've seen in my own life experience. And another thing that kind of, it's like, I'm kind of getting into it with these debate things a little bit more and more, a little bit here at a time. And Bandit will tell you, it's just slow progression into it. But the one thing that I've watched a lot of times is like when flat earthers ask a question, they tend to answer the question with another question. They end up so far on the topic, they can't.
Yeah.
You can't get them to it. But a lot of them in chats, they'll ignore me because I won't fold.
That's right. When I talk to them, you could hold them to it, man. Even when you're talking to them, just don't budge when you're talking too.
Yeah, don't let them don't let them swap.
That's why your boy started getting all crazy, because I wouldn't let him avoid sourcing the basis of his claim that is just studying light and this is putting lipstick on a pig. When he had to actually demonstrate his knowledge of the process to be confident enough to make that declaration, then he went crazy. So
yeah, but it's like I just refuse to let him. I refuse to let them stray off topic or stray off the question that I ask them. They tell me, well, why don't you prove this? I'm like, I don't have to. That's been proven friggin' thousands of friggin' times over and over again. What's the point of me wasting the air to do it again?
They're just like watermelon seeds.
Sorry,
what's that?
I said they're just like water. They're like watermelon seeds.
I just slipped this, yeah.
If you mash down on them, they just squirt over to the other side of the room.
Yeah, but the one that I like to, stuff the question onto, prove that the Earth is flat, is whenever Thompson pops up in a chat, I like to just continue to batter him with that. And
exactly.
Eventually, he just ends up leaving the chat. Never freaking responds to.
What's his name?
Thompson.
Nathan
Thompson.
Oh, yeah. I saw Conspiracy Cat just obliterate him. Oh my gosh, I saw that like 5 times already. It was beautiful. It was a work of art.
It was ugly.
My gosh. Yeah, man. There was blood and gore everywhere, man. It was bad. By the way, just to be sure, like y'all was saying that y'all didn't get a chance to talk for a long time. Did I interrupt y'all? Did you have more to say? I'm fine sitting back and letting y'all do your thing.
No, we're good, man. I got my point across.
No, I mean, Bandsaw and Big Blue, they were saying they didn't get a chance. They don't usually get a chance to talk, or it doesn't last a long time.
Oh no, it's generally because when I ask Big Blue a question, he sort of kind of answers it pretty succinctly in one sentence, and we move on. But I was going to ask Jay, actually, how high have you been, Jay?
The highest I've been was in a private jet up to about 40,000 feet. Really cool, man.
Cool.
Yeah. You can see a curvature. It's slight, but you can see it. It's real slight. I'm sure Big Blue, you're a pilot. You probably spotted it too.
Oh yeah, I've always maintained that I can see it. Maybe I'm trying to see it. People can say that. But at one time back in the 80s, I had the opportunity, and I took it to get a ride on the Concorde.
Nice.
Back from London. And
that must have been a hell of an experience.
Oh shit! Yeah, absolutely. That thing goes fast. I got to tell you, fucking fast. And high.
Okay, I gotta ask something about that Concorde too, because I had read stuff about it, but I would never had a chance to talk to anyone regarding riding on it. But someone had stated that it stretches out about 3 to 6 inches once it hits top speed. Is there any noticeable difference when it's cruising altitude?
I don't think you would notice it, but I mean a passenger would. But the plane grows, I think, 7 or 8 inches in length.
Oh wow!
In fact, one of the things there's an expansion joint up there in the nose of it, and one of the things the pilots on the last flights of each one of those airplanes took their hats off and stuck it in the crack, and so when the plane came for and that crack sort of sealed up, their hats are all stuck in there.
That must have been fun. You just picture like, what the hell? I can't get my hat off the floor. What's going on here?
Stuck right in the crack.
Apparently, Boeing's got a new version of a Concorde coming out pretty soon. I'm looking forward to that one.
Really? I hadn't heard about that.
It popped up on my news feed. It's just it looks very similar to the Concorde, but it's a Boeing design, and it's supposed to be able to go from like California to New York in just a little over an hour. Supposed to. I have to look up the. Let me see if I can find the info on it. Yeah. Come back here, internet.
I didn't think anybody thought supersonic was worth investing in anymore. Wasn't worth investing in back then, to tell you the truth. And if there's projected sales of the Concorde hadn't been so grossly inflated, I don't think they would ever have built the airplane to begin with.
Well,
yeah, sorry, Jay.
This one is actually on Bloomberg. A new era of supersonic travel may end before it even begins. Like one day ago, but there's a couple of artist concepts of what this new aircraft is supposed to look like. But it might be, here it is. NBC News actually had an article on it on the 28th of last year. Let's see.
The economics aren't favorable.
Nah, that burns fuel so friggin' fast.
yeah, the tickets end up being so damned expensive for it. People will sit on a plane for an extra 3 hours rather than pay 3 times as much for a ticket.
Let's see here. I mean, to travel at that speed would actually kind of be worth the buck. It'd be fun. I mean, you got to do it. It had to have been fun.
Oh, it was a blast. And I had a big company that paid for the damn ticket, too.
Oh, word. Even better.
Yeah, wasn't out of my pocket.
Let's see. So Boeing, they unveiled plans for what could be the world's first hypersonic airliner since the Concorde. Sleek, futuristic-looking craft for the Seattle-based company said it'd be capable of flying 5 times the speed of sound, or about 3,800 miles per hour.
That's hypersonic.
Hypersonic, yeah. So it is a first hypersonic. I don't know how expensive that ticket probably costs like $5,000 to go take that one for a trip.
I don't know. Well, the Concorde flew at Mach 2.
Yeah. It was shut down mainly because of one accident, wasn't it?
Yeah, the only one it ever had.
And that was the reason they shut it down. It was birds, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was actually a tire failure, which was caused by a piece of debris on the runway that they hit on takeoff, and the tire exploded and hit the bottom of the fuel tank, which ruptured the tank, which resulted in a massive fire.
Yeah.
It was irrecoverable. They managed to stay in the air for, 5, 6, or 7 miles before they piled it in.
Yeah, it hit hard too.
Yeah.
I remember watching
originally they were going to build, so they had contracts, I think, originally for hundreds of the Concordes. And then the cost aspect of it started coming into question. And then at the end of the day, I don't think they ever built more than about 30 of them. Maybe not even that many.
I thought they had like 7, and that was it. I don't know. I don't remember. I was a kid when they shut it down. So
I think they built 20 or 30, 20 something of them, less than 30 maybe. We could look it up. I've got Google. Wait a minute.
Here's something neat about this new Boeing one. Instead of cruising at 30,000 to 40,000 feet, it'll cruise at around 90 to 95,000 feet.
Yeah, you'd have to go hypersonic.
Yeah, get that kind of speed.
you would have to just to keep the temperatures under control.
Yeah. See, there'd be less turbulence. More time would be needed to accelerate to Mach 5 on a conventional plane. I say on a conventional airliner, Passengers feel the sensation being pushed back into the seats for about a minute or so during and shortly after takeoff. On a hypersonic flight, the sensation would last for about 12 minutes. But I've got to get going, guys. I got. My mom just rolled up, so I'll catch up with y'all later. All right.
Hey, man, it was
Too
nice
easy,
chatting with
Jake.
you, Jay.
Catch you next
Likewise,
week, buddy.
Thanks for letting me jump on. I'll talk to you guys a bit.
Thanks for being on.
No problem.
And I want to show Fight the Deception this as well, by the way. During our debate, it was there as well. It always said readable at my website. So to him to go ahead and say is it possible he's just trying to make money from books that I give away for free? It makes absolutely no sense. So you could apologize for that, as well as accept the evidence that you present in your own videos and your own debates. The same website that says that you know that him Robbie may take pictures, input the data piece by piece. Also said it's still a geostationary satellite. It is right there. Readable at DarrylEberryJr.com.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, Darryl. If you wanted to, Pete Shea is asking for the link in the YouTube chat. If you,
give me a moment. I'll
want to
share
drop
that
it.
again.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry, mate. I just thought. Yeah.
But I want to do my little. Oh, it was more than that, but that was part of your comment, Fight the Deception. But I could go to the other things as well. But just like your video, you show a video as proof, and the first two things don't add up, and you go to the rest of the video. It's like, why anyway? It's like,
Darryl, he had 6.5 hours.
Yeah, it makes
mate.
no sense. Yeah,
he had 6.5 hours.
But there's one more thing to do it. Yeah, you prove that wrong, and you prove that wrong, and you prove that wrong. But let's go to that one more thing. It's like, what the?
Yeah, I know.
We'll be here forever.
I know.
So.
And he came ill prepared. He came ill prepared, and shame on him for even coming ill prepared.
But coolness, somebody else is going to come on and join. But there it is right there, by the way. It says it clearly on the even while we were chatting, readable at DarrylEberryJr.com, even right there, so everybody can see it. So I call that baseless slander, saying that, or even saying that's a possibility when clearly if I'm giving it away for free. I mean, I just want to share the information. So there's that. But I do plan on writing novels in the future that I will charge for. But as far as spiritual knowledge and things like that, and my forgiveness books, I just love doing it, and I want to see the world a better place. So cool.
Pete's saying the link isn't working.
It's not working? Give me a moment. Let me try again.
That's what he's saying.
Oh, let me change this again. One moment here. Oh, and somebody said in the comments, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that if I want to make money. I agree with that as well. It's simply the fact that it wasn't true. But
who cares? You know what, Darryl? Who cares? It's your bloody channel. You can do what you want on it.
Exactly. But it's just the fact that it wasn't true. But that just goes to show more of the flat earth logic that is make these claims that are baseless. But that's because I didn't put a space up in there. But the fact is, people do have to make a living and things like that. But I'll tell you why, though, because it's important to me. Years ago, I used to my purpose was to, and this should work now, Pete. Years ago, my purpose was to make a living writing books about spirituality and metaphysics, and as some people has pointed out, it's not such popular topics. People are more interested in the favorite celebrity or who said what about who or whatever. So it seems like it'll take a whole lot because that's not really what a lot of people want. But at the same time, I realized that I don't really believe in a society of government and money, because some of y'all have heard me talk about the fact that I've had interactions with ETs, and I still, as I look at the depth of most scientific research, I see I need to have more. But with the experience that I have had, I've proven to me that they exist. And I have no awareness of them having a monetary society or a society with government. They're just, it's like in their society, their whole society is one family. So just like how if you live in a household, you don't charge your children to wash their clothes or cook their food because they're your kids, right? You just take care of them and you help each other, and the mom might wash the dishes and the husband might mow the lawn. They don't charge each other. Hey, I mowed the lawn today. You owe me $50. They're a family and they're working together to maintain their home, right? This is a shared home. Well, that's basically the idea or the perspective that I have of the extraterrestrial societies. They see their whole society that way. Like their whole planet is, and their whole society, their whole civilization, if they're on multiple planets, is one family. And they don't charge each other money. We're all going working together. They don't have a government. Why do we need to single out a few people to be the masters over us? And then we have to watch them and make sure they don't do crazy stuff. But if we have to do all that, we could just do it ourselves. And that's what they do. They just work together and organize. And they've reached a level of advancement that's far beyond what we have. So I figured, and then I was talking to a friend of mine who was trying to get me to join this quick money scheme. And, ironically, he hates government and money. But he just thinks he wants to get enough money so he can be in control. He's like, money is horrible, and these people are just enslaving us. But wait till I get enough money, then I could be free, right? Then I could be the one on top. So basically, he wants to get enough money to overturn the, Illuminati people and the rock whatever, I'm talking about, those rock whatever people who's supposed to be at the top. So I thought, you know what, maybe, I still would like to make a living doing writing because I love doing it, but maybe I can try like my spiritual books, my metaphysical books, my books about forgiveness. Maybe I could do that for free because at least there will be one part of the planet that's open and free and is about helping and not interacting with government. Like I'm not going to open up a company to sell my OBE books, and I'm not going to, I'm going to make sure it'd be nice if people want to buy them. They're on Amazon, but they're all there for free and they'll be advertised for free so people can read them. And I know me, the way I am, like when people put something online for free and I like it, I'll go buy the book just because I like it, even though they already gave it to me for free. You know what I mean? So, but so if people want to do that, I mean, definitely it can help. I still have bills to pay. But the point is that I wanted to have an area where I think the most important things to me are available for free because it'll seem to me, it seems disingenuous to take the smallest thing. Like people just, like for instance, companies, they'll give a few things for free, but it's a small thing to get you in the door to sell you the real thing. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to do it that way. So the most important thing to me would be my out of body books like Travel 4. That whole thing is up there already. My Classrooms in the Course in Miracles, about half of that one is there so far. I'm making the second edition of my forgiveness book. So when I get the second edition out, I'll put that one up. And these are the things that are most important to me that have the most impact on my life. So I'm putting those out there for free because that's the best I can give of myself. And it feels to me, yeah, and it feels to me walking the talk. If I really don't like government and money, and I really believe in these ET societies that just work together for free and just help each other, then it seems to me that I could just give the best thing I can. And if somebody else decides to do that, and if somebody else decides to do that, and somebody else decides to do that, then eventually we'll have a society like that. You know what I mean?
Ripple effect, Darryl. Ripple.
Thanks, exactly.
Thanks for the link, Darryl. Just checking if I'm coming through okay.
Oh, yes, you are.
And
by the way, let me check on the chat and see what they think about that. Did y'all? Are you? Oh, and hey, Rez, how you doing, Rez? Welcome. And did you hear all that fight to deception?
That actually sounds like a good thing. Like you have a good idea going on there, Darryl.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Oh,
Darryl, can I ask you?
I want to finish. I want to finish with the comments first, though. And but I do want to address this.
Yeah.
He said,
don't worry about your guest there, Darryl.
And actually addressed that in your comment, fight to deception. Did you read it? He's saying. He also said trying to convince someone who thinks they have been to another planet is futile. As a matter of fact, I didn't address it in that comment. I addressed it in one of our previous videos. What I told you was, what the problem is, meeting someone with direct experience is too much for you. Because let's say I'm an astronaut and I've been to the ISS. There's nothing you can say. There's wires in the thing. I've been on the thing. What the hell are you talking about? The Earth is not a globe, it's flat. I circled the damn thing over and over every 90 minutes for the last 6 months. What are you talking about? So
what if you haven't?
So what I'm going to do right now is do my finish thing, and I'll let you interact later, Pete. So that's what I see. Just like when we was talking with I don't remember his new name, but the guy who was trying to dismiss spectroscopy. my understanding is if you're going to dismiss something as insufficient, you have to know enough about it to make that determination. And he was not able to demonstrate that he understood it enough to make that determination. I've only been reading about it for a few weeks, and I recognize that, at least I recognize more of an in-depth understanding than he demonstrated, put it that way. If he has a more in-depth understanding, he didn't demonstrate it. So by the same token, if you're with somebody who did, so this is what I noticed, flat earth people always want to look at one side. They'll say, well, when I was talking to Ranty, he said, well, what if the earth is flat and you can only see so far, and you're up high and you're looking at the full extent of your distance, you will see a curve. And I said, yeah, I can see that. You'll see a curve. But he didn't want to admit the other side, that if you have a sphere and you up high and you look, you'll see a curve, just like in Rob Skiba's video. So they want to talk about one possibility, but they don't want to talk about the other. So the other possibility, which I told you about that day, is what if I really did go? Which means I have direct firsthand experience that space is real and that the moon is real. And that's what I observe, being that I've interacted with a few of y'all, is what the real problem is. Because you don't want to consider the other possibility, fight the deception. So now that I got that out, so what do you want to say, Pete?
Darryl, have you considered that maybe the mind is a powerful thing? At what age could you tell me that you went to these other planets?
This is going to be my answer to you, sir, because I prepared for this. I prepared for this to happen. And if you look at what's showing on the screen right now, let me find it. One moment here. Nope, I clicked the wrong one. Where's Matrixx one at? Let me move some things around here. Oh, that's why, because my web thing is still showing. Give me a moment, let me move my web thing here. And why can't I see it? So this is for you. So Matrixx Media, we talked the other day. And this is what I'm going to start to do, Bandsaw, so I can save myself time. We had a talk. Yeah. And you asked me, Matrixx Media, what the forward-looking material is made of on a SpaceX rocket. You remember that?
I do.
And you also asked, why isn't the camera facing forward on the rocket? You remember that?
I do.
So this is what I challenge you to do. Did you look into those answers and find out?
Not at all.
Okay, so when you look into those answers, then we'll talk more. Because all that's going to happen is...
I'm a fabricator. I'm a fabricator and a mechanic. There are no material that they're going to tell me that is floppy and skinny enough to flop in the wind and still be durable enough to not break in the extreme heat and cold and velocity of space, right? So there is nothing that I'm going to research that's going to give me that answer.
You just have to believe it, Matrixx. Just believe it.
I know. Just
so
believe
right now
it.
It's between. Hold up. So give me a moment. So to make sure I'm understanding properly, when I asked you the other day, I asked you that day, I said it seems like flat earthers just ask a question. They don't really believe there's an answer. They believe it's fake and it's false, and they're just asking that question just because they want to. It's like, really, it's proof that it's false. I'm going to ask this question that I don't know about. And I said, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. And I said, let me ask you. I said, are you asking this question sincerely because you actually want an answer? Or are you asking it because you're just saying that it's false? What was your answer? Do you remember?
Not at all.
You said a little bit of both. I'll link the video. That's what your words are. But right now you're showing that you have no intention of asking. Because you said, so Pete,
I didn't say that. I told you I know the answer there. I know the answer because I'm a fabricator and a mechanic. So I know extensively about material, which you don't know. You didn't listen to what I was saying there. You right away wanted to debunk me and you didn't listen. I told you I know the answer already. I know the answer already.
Okay.
Well, I don't need to research it because I deal with materials every day and I make stuff with my hands every day.
Okay. Well, I think that's enough for anybody who's watching. But I think I proved my point. So let's go ahead, Pete. What's your but until you answer those questions, I'm not going to debate with you anymore. By the way, Matrixx. So just so you know that. What you want to say, Pete?
Well, let me just say hi to Matrixx, and a very, very fair question. Of course, we've dealt with that. I've dealt with that in my own thinking years ago. How do you manufacture materials that cater for such drastic variations in temperature? When you're standing on the moon and you're looking away from the sun, your back is at plus 200 degrees, your front is at minus 200 degrees.
Okay.
Where is the materials that can cater for all of these things? But these are reasonable questions. I'd like to hear you dealing with on another platform or stage. Can I just go back, Darryl?
No,
How you doing, by the way?
no. Let's stop there.
We can deal with that now if you want.
So
you
asked the same question he did. So let me ask you: are you asking that question because you sincerely think there's an answer and there's a material that does it, or are you asking that question as a mock question and you're really saying there's no such thing as that type of material and it's impossible?
No, what I'm saying is you're telling me something that I know is not true. So I want you to go through the mechanics of how something that I know is not true. You're telling me is true.
So let me
Can I finish my sentence? Can I finish my sentence?
No.
Darryl.
I want to clarify one step at a time.
You weren't so impolite on Shawn G's channel.
I want to do this one step at a time. So to make sure, Pete, I want to do this one step at a time. We're gonna the first.
You're very rude, man. I said it earlier on. You seem very polite. You're very rude there.
Okay, but I want to make sure we do one thing at a time. So okay. So you're saying, Pete, that there is no material that can do that? Is that your position?
No, I wanted you to talk me through the mechanics of what is actually happening. I already know in my brain that there's no such thing as the moon landings. There's no such thing as astronauts in space is given. So because we know the nature of the materials and the nature of the environment as we're given, right, we want you to justify it.
Okay.
If you don't want to justify that, I didn't come in to talk about this. That's Matrixx question. It's a perfectly valid question.
Mm-hmm. So to make sure I'm understanding, you're saying we know the environment. Are you saying you know what the environment is?
According to the story, the environment is if you're standing on the moon, your back facing the sun is 200 degrees plus. Your front facing away from the sun is 200 degrees negative.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, how can you build any sort of system which will withstand, that's back 50 years ago, not to mine today, which will withstand such variations? How does the body inside cope and cater with such variations in materials? And as Matrixx said, he deals with materials. So it's a perfectly valid question for him to ask in general.
And this is what I'm just trying to understand. And I apologize if I just didn't catch it. But you're saying that you already know in your head that there's no such material. Is that correct?
No. What I'm saying is that I already know that this is all nonsense in the first place. I'm a flat earther
that's what I was
since
asking.
2013.
So one moment.
So I know it's all storytelling.
So that's what I'm trying to clarify. So when you say it's all nonsense, you're saying there's no such thing as a material that can do this. Is that correct?
No, there's no such thing as the moon landing. There's no such thing as space is given, right? There's no such thing as these scenarios that are presented to us as reality. So I'm in a different mindset, but because you were talking to Matrixx there and he was asking you that question, that's a very reasonable question to ask in general.
So it looks like I'm not going to get a direct answer to that, but I'll give you.
Well, okay, are you saying that because there's materials that can withstand temperatures? What do you mean, first of all, by saying withstand the temperature of 200 degrees negative or 200 degrees positive? That it still survives? Is it in its form?
When did I say that?
What about the living being inside in it?
When did I say that's the conditions?
Let me clarify, Darryl.
One moment, that's what I'm talking with him right now. When did I say those are the conditions, Pete?
No, you're asking me about the material. Am I saying there's no such material? Even if I was saying that the material...
That's what I was asking about. So this is what
right. Even if I'm saying that the material can exist to withstand that variation in temperature, I also have to imagine a human being inside it up in a space rocket somewhere. And so the whole story sort of is entwined together. I want to know what you know. Forget about the materials and the possibilities. What about the reality?
So this is what I'll do.
What have you proven to yourself, Darryl?
This is what I'll do. You have both concluded that it's not possible. Okay? So this is what I'll do. I'll allow you to go do research and find out. It seems Matrixx already said clear. He made it clear that there's nothing that can tell him that's going to prove it because he already works with material he knows. So
what's your answer right now on the spot, Darryl? What's your answer right now?
I'll let you go research it. This was.
What's your research that gives you your certainty?
I'll let you go research it.
Hey,
are you a bullshitter, Darryl? Are you a
bullshitter? I'll let you go research it.
Click on that link that I just posted.
Oh yeah, and I'm fine if they want to answer it, but I'm going to make clear to all the flat earthers. I'm going to make it clear to all the flat earthers. I'm no longer going to waste my time researching your doubts.
Okay.
If you already know that the material is not possible, then there's nothing to discuss. If you already know the material
Never
is
said
not
that.
possible, then we could just agree to disagree. There's
Never
nothing to
said that.
discuss.
Because something is possible, that doesn't mean that a
We could
story
disagree to
attaching
disagree,
that
sir.
something is true.
I'm
But
not.
Darryl, let's forget about that. You're about truth, right?
Mhm.
My question when I came on, when I heard what you said in terms of your free PDF, and hopefully people will contribute later on, you're about truth. You're anti-government. You understand the sort of the fight, the core fight against the living man versus this artificial entity that claims some sort of authority. Now, have you heard about the legal name fraud, Darryl?
Yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Right, and have you acted upon that?
No, I have not.
Right. So, what is your take on the legal name fraud then?
Okay, I'll answer that. This is my understanding. The government is just a man-made little document structure thing. So if we really wanted to be free, we could simply stop participating. To me, having to sign this paper or undo my birth certificate and do all this this paperwork and you can't say understand, you can't answer to you can't write your name in all caps. All this stuff to me is just a waste of time, and is actually giving credence to their system. We don't have to undo the legal name and destroy our birth certificate and all this other stuff to be free and stop getting the driver's license. And we could just ignore it completely and just say we're free and we're going to be free. And if you try to impose upon us, then we'll defend ourselves, even if it means killing you. Just like what happened with the American Revolution. They didn't have to go in and, okay, Queen, I'm going to turn in my driver's license. I'm going to turn in my birth certificate. Now I'm free. No, they just said I'm free. And leave us alone. And if you want to have a fight about it, that's what's going to happen. But you need to leave us alone because we're free. And the Queen was like, well, we're going to have a fight about it. And then they lost the fight. And then that was it. So I understand enough of the ideas behind, yes, the birth certificate. It means we're being exchanged.
Why would there
on the
be
stock
two birth
exchange and stuff
certificates
like
in the
that.
first place, Darryl?
Again, all of that
Why would
doesn't
there be
matter to
two?
me. That doesn't matter to me. If we wanted to be
Right,
free,
well,
we could just stop participating. It's
okay,
simple
so
as that.
But why would there be two? Why would there be two birth certificates?
I don't really care. I don't really care why there would be two.
Okay.
I don't really care.
And why did they always give us one in the beginning then?
I don't really care. I don't really care.
Okay, he doesn't want to answer those questions, Matrixx. But is government inherently evil and oppressive then against our natural rights, Darryl? And what are our natural rights if we're spiritual beings?
Well, again, government is just a man-made construct. So I would say that government can't be. It's like when people say guns kill people. A gun is just an inanimate object. This is what people do with it. So if you go back to of course, I wasn't back there, right? But according to my perception of the intent of the founding of the United States, when you read the Bill of Rights, for instance, they intended freedom. So my understanding is that first period of time, they was really trying to have a place of freedom, and that's what they used it for. But it's simply that when you have a structure in which people are given permission to infringe upon other people because they wear a badge or they wear a shiny suit and they have a title in front of their name, that lends itself to people who want to hurt people to fill those spots and utilize that structure to hurt people. So, so that's why I say you don't have to utilize that structure to get out of it. You could just simply decide, if enough good people decide to no longer submit to bad people just because they have a badge or they call themselves politicians, it will be over. So all of how many birth certificates we have, and is government a bad thing? I mean, it's just a construct. I think, in my experience, we're better without it because, again, the structure itself lends itself to people who want to abuse that power. But government is just a structure.
The biggest pushers of the spinning ball Earth on a universal scale are governments, right? It's an intrinsic part of the educational system. Now, governments are inherently bad because there's malintent behind the whole structure. Where do we fit into it? What's your true value here, Darryl? What's the value of you as a man, as a child? What's the value of all of us, and how does it relate to our home, first of all? Is this our dominion? Is this Earth our dominion? If I say yes, it is. If I say my home is a spinning ball where people are going around upside down to one another, I can claim a portion of that all day long. It's utter fantasy if it is. If I'm living on some place completely different, then that's my true dominion. I need to know about it, and I also need to know fundamentally who I am that needs to know about it in relation to what I need to know.
You give yourself value, Pete. You don't rely on anyone else.
I know that.
You give value to yourself, so you don't rely on anyone else. So if you're looking to anyone else to give you value, you're looking in the wrong place, buddy.
That's why I try my damnedest not to lie, Bandsaw. And how you doing again, man?
Yeah, good man. Good.
I'll give you a moment, guys. Let me scroll the comments for a second and catch up on those. Scrolling comments now. So I'll scroll up. You don't have a secret bank, no space here. Why does it surprise me that Pete is a... Obviously, the point is, it's not difficult to engineer out. So, oh, and Loken. So, Loken, you want to talk about the materials with them? You made this link about, you posted this link
Yeah,
about
I mean,
materials.
it's just like easy searching, and like you find out that it indeed can take the temperature. You
Okay,
know.
so I'm happy to let so Pete, Matrixx, Loken here is willing to answer your question about the materials that it
I mean,
takes.
I don't know all about it. I just
like a bag. Like a bag.
no.
Take it up at Matrixx. Matrixx, take it over. This is your area, bro.
Okay, so
what I said was there was no material. There was no material that would look like that and flop like that, like a plastic bag. Because you know why? You know why a plastic bag flops like that? Because it's very thin in material, therefore giving it enough movement, right? If you start adding braided material and braided metal, it will make it thicker, therefore less floppier. So whatever you're going to show me, it isn't what we're seeing. You're going to show me some bullshit, some thick braided bullshit that does not flop in the wind like a bag.
Let him show us Matrixx, I guess, and talk us through it. How you doing, Tig?
Good. Well, first, like, let's address the melting point of the alloy. What do you think it is?
What's the melting point of my testicle inside the alloy? That's what I want to know.
1,009 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's what? I've got great balls of fire.
It's pretty good.
Goodness gracious, my balls.
You can't have a serious conversation with him.
That's funny. Come on.
Well, that's the thing. They won't accept anything that's been cited about the material. So
I won't believe any other shit.
There's nothing really.
I didn't believe any other shit.
So 2219 aluminum alloy is just bullshit, I guess, to them.
Let's talk about 1969 when man landed on the moon, and when Neil Armstrong was hitting the golf ball, right? The front of his side of his was 200 degrees plus. I think thereabouts. That's Celsius. That's the given figure.
No,
and the back of him was minus.
Now you're jumping to the moon landing. We're talking about the ISS. Stay.
Oh well, whatever about the materials today. We have to talk about the materials back then as well.
We've got to stay on topic. We've got to stay on topic. We can't be all over the place.
It's all about materials to withstand space. ISS. Matrixx is talking about the floppy. That Matrixx.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a secret. Like, guess what? There's no wind friction in space. It could be really thin, but I'm sure it's not as thin as you think because they talk about Kevlar in between and all this other stuff. So,
there's a pressure differential. There's a massive fucking pressure differential.
One moment. So, even though I'm not a part of it, on my channel, I'm about evidence. So, right now we're talking about the materials of the ISS. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So you're saying that the materials are real. So what is your evidence of those materials, Loken? What evidence do you have of what the materials are? And Matrixx, since you work with these materials, what is your evidence that these materials are impossible? So let's go with the evidence, because it'll be a waste of time going back and forth saying I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong, and we don't get anywhere. What is the evidence? So again, Loken, what's your evidence?
Common sense, Darryl. We have to use common sense, right? We first went to the moon in 1969, right?
No. So right now, we're talking about the materials that the ISS is made of. And in your case, the materials that the nozzle on the rocket on the SpaceX mission was made of. What is your evidence?
I was specifically talking about one thing, though.
Right now we're talking about the materials, though.
This is not my topic. I'm not going to comment on this. This is not my topic. I was talking about the gold foil specifically.
That's exactly. So specifically, what's your evidence that gold foil is impossible?
Common freaking sense.
Okay. Please explain that to us.
Thick braided materials do not flop in the wind erratically, right? They move slowly because the thickness implied, the braided implied thickness,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
they're not skinny enough to flop. There's a difference.
Okay. So to make sure I'm understanding properly, because this is the only way I can see that you can. And actually, I don't want to. Loken, you go. I'm sorry. That fast, I was about to get into it. So he clarified himself.
Well, he's bringing up like that gold foil. That's like, I don't know if that's a part of the ISS. I think that's.
Well, hold up. That's part of the SpaceX rocket, but still, it's part of materials in space. So he said.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I mean,
clarify
granted,
his point.
it's used for other
He's saying
things.
common sense is impossible for fake braided material to be that thin and still flap like that.
Yeah,
Be flexible.
I mean,
and let me make sure I understand. One more. So you're
yeah,
saying Matrixx, talking specifically about that gold foil, you're saying it's impossible for material to be fake braided material to be that thin, that flexible to flap and still be able to withstand those G forces and everything and so forth, correct?
And temperature.
And temperature.
And temperature.
Okay, so we understand his point.
So flap. I said flop like a bag. I didn't say move around. I say
flap like a bag. And again, your evidence is just common sense.
What's your evidence, Darryl?
With materials.
Huh?
Common sense and working with materials as a fabricator.
So common sense and working with materials. What materials do you work with?
I'm a fabricator, so whatever I need to fabricate with.
In other words, like you're fabricating things, what is the nature of the material you work with? Are you fabricating with copper, with plywood?
Whatever I need to make. Whatever I need to make.
So give us an example of a few of the types of materials you fabricate with.
Fiberglass, metal, wood, plastic.
Okay.
Rubber.
Okay. And what things do you fabricate? What is the one moment? And what things do you fabricate? What's the end result of your fabrication?
Mainly bikes.
Say it again, please. Mainly bikes, like motorcycles.
Nice one, bud. Nice one, Matrixx.
Okay. So to make sure I'm understanding properly, you fabricate the material that ends up being parts on motorcycles.
The parts.
Okay.
I use the materials.
Use materials to fabricate parts for motorcycles.
What do you do? What do you do, Darryl?
I'm not going to talk about my work, but this is related to his point.
Can you fabricate anything? Do you know anything about materials?
So what I'm doing right now, you chose to stay out of this argument. I gave it to both of you.
I know what you're doing.
You said this is not my argument. Matrixx take it over, so you need to be quiet now because this is Matrixx.
I know what you're doing. Yeah, I know what you're doing, man, and you're just like the rest as well.
So if you don't be quiet, I'm going to boot you. That's what's going to happen. You had an opportunity.
Off you go, man.
You had an
opportunity,
and you said it's Matrixx
fake
conversation. That's what you said.
You're a fake.
That's what you said.
You're a fake, man.
You said it's Matrixx conversation. So it's Matrixx conversation. So you're going to be quiet.
Well, you're
going to be quiet. You're going to be quiet, and I'm going to talk to Matrixx because you said it's his conversation when you had an opportunity.
What are you, a dictator?
So that's what's going to happen right now. I'm going to mute you. If you unmute yourself, you're going to get booted. That's what's happening right now.
Don't threaten me, man. Do what you like. So
Matrixx. So to be clear, you're fabricating parts that become a motorcycle, and that's the parts he fabricated. That's his experience and his common sense. So, and from that he knows that material.
More than that.
Okay.
More than that.
Let me make sure we
understand. Motorcycle is just my current.
Okay.
Right. I also fabricate for cars, for trucks. If it has wheels, if it has an engine, I make parts for it.
Okay. So motorcycles, wheels, engines for trucks. Okay. So that's his basis for saying that material is not possible. So Loken, what evidence do you have that either that material in particular, or because he wasn't prepared to talk particularly about that material, but any material is sufficient to withstand that? But if you can, try to talk specifically about any foil type material or foil looking material.
Yeah, I mean, from what little I've read up on it just now, I mean, it talks about why they use so much gold foil on, satellites and other fucking things that they put up in space.
Yeah, you can see it.
And
so you just read right now.
So I gave you a warning, Pete. You said this is not your discussion. You got to stop interrupting. So you got to go. So you got to go. So what we're going to talk about here, Loken, like what is the evidence you have that those materials are possible?
Because they've been made and they've been used. Okay. I mean, was I at the plant that made them? No, but I mean, yeah.
Do you have evidence of them being in use?
Yeah, I mean, there's photographic evidence, but
Okay, you want to show us some, and we can compare that with his knowledge of fabricating the motorcycle parts, the truck, the wheels, the truck engines. What video do you want to get? I'll give you a moment to look while I search. I mean, I'll give you a moment.
I just put a link in, and you can
Okay, awesome.
pop that open.
So I'm going to open this link and share it with everybody.
Oh, Tig's left.
What's that? What's that?
Tig's left.
Who?
Oh no, he's joined again. Sorry, he dropped out.
Loken.
Oh, okay, awesome. So give me a moment here. Let me pull up my search thing. And why is that still up? I didn't realize this was still up. I'll close that.
While you're pulling that up,
okay.
Darryl, can I make a point while you're pulling that
Certainly.
up?
Do your thing.
Yeah. Matrixx, you there, buddy? Matrixx, you there, mate?
Yep.
Yeah. Look, you fabricate stuff. You know, motorbikes, cars, trucks, all that sort of stuff. I think I heard you say. Would you agree? Like, there's industries that manufacture similar stuff that aren't in general production, like where massive advancements are made. It's like the testing ground for different materials and technology. My example would be, say, the Formula One, for example, with motor cars. A lot of technologies and advancements have come through Formula One that is transferred into everyday cars. Now, the advancements they make today may not be in production tomorrow. They may be in production in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, but they are making advancements today and using materials today that aren't in everyday production.
And that's actually what Loken's going to talk about. So this is a link from Loken. Let me know where you want me to go. And he's saying
remember, guys, it has to be also, because I'm talking about specifically gold foil, right? And so remember, it has to be something that was constructed in 1969, not in these years. Because we went to
hold up now.
In 1960, that's what I was talking about earlier.
No. You can't change the bar. No. It could be constructed.
I'm not changing the bar.
It could be constructed.
Specifically, I was talking about.
No. It could be constructed.
And we're not talking about the same thing here, Darryl. We're not talking about the same thing.
So to be clear, you talked about the foil on that rocket. That was just a few days ago. So it doesn't
Which
have
is
to be
also on the moon lander. So it had to exist in 1969. If not, it doesn't count. Because how did they do it in 1969?
Okay.
If they didn't have these
valid
materials.
Valid point. But first, we're going to start with it right now. I understand your point. If they could be lying back then. But that wasn't the original argument. The original argument was you was talking about the fall on that rocket, which was a few days ago. So we're going to start with that. After we do that, so in other words, it doesn't. So right now we're not putting a time frame on it. It could be any time frame, long as he can show that this material can go in space and withstand it. Then he met the requirements of the original argument. So it's your turn, Loken.
Also has to have the erratic movements of a plastic bag.
No more moving the bar, man.
You already said what I said. You guys are moving the bar.
I'm going to have to mute you if you don't be quiet and let him present his side, man. You presented yours, and then go ahead and leave, man. So go ahead and still present your side, man. Because he's steadily trying to add more and more things to make it difficult. It's like, dude, we just talking about the material existing. So go ahead and do your thing, man.
No, I mean, like he's talking about, like, because I don't know about any gold foil on the ISS.
Whatever you can find.
Whatever. Yeah, but like say he talks about how these materials can't take the heat.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, he's thinking of it like as there's like an atmosphere in space. And there's no atmosphere. There's no air molecules to heat up.
Well, to be fair, even though he's not here, let's look at the materials first, though. Let's look at the evidence first.
Basically around, the radiation, the heat transfer is just not the same. Okay? And it basically, like, it can still keep, certain things cool enough, and they're not going to, like, melt in space. And it's just the way it is. I mean, if there was some sort of atmosphere to heat up air molecules, then fucking space station and, like, satellites and shit, they would have to be completely different. but there's a reason there's no fucking air. I mean, there's very little air molecules in space. Not enough to really do anything.
But this is your evidence here of the fact that the material is in use.
Here,
it's presented in the meetup, by the way.
No.
Did I load the wrong link?
Click my latest.
Okay, my bad.
Link. Sorry.
Aha. Okay, sorry. Good gold or satellites covered in gold foil. So I'm gonna put this in the chat as well. But this is presenting to everybody, both y'all in the hangout and on the stream. But I'll put it in the chat just in case. Matrixx, if you want to talk, why didn't you stay on the thing and talk? It just don't make any sense, man. So go ahead and go, Loken. What we got?
Well, yeah, if you scroll down to where that guy has his fingers on it, you can just
right here.
You can just read to the left of that. They talk about the thermal control,
awesome.
And all that stuff.
Just look at this. We have, matter of fact, I don't mind going through the whole thing. As good as gold, our satellites covered in gold foil. So he has an article that speaks specifically to Matrixx's point. And Matrixx, what we can do, since you are debating Loken, if you do want to come back on, you can come back on but what I may do, because you can't let him present his point as he was respectful enough to let you present your point, I may keep you off until he finishes. So when he finishes, if you want to come back on, you can come back on, but I'll go ahead and read this article and he can make his point, and then we can go from there. So let me get the link ready, the copy to join, and then I'll read this article. I'll post it now just in case he wants to come back on, but maybe he left already or something. But that's a link for anybody who wants to join. But just keep in mind, right now we're doing Loken's thing right now. So have you ever wondered why satellites appear to be covered in gold or silver foil? Here's the answer. Direct to that question. And we can see some pictures here. This thing is all in foil. The Jason 3 looks like a satellite. The GOSR, the JPSS-1, while they may seem like they are draped in precious metal, is usually not gold at all, or even foil. It's actually material called multi-layer insulation, or MLI. Multi-layer insulation consists of lightweight reflective films assembled into thin layers that range in thickness. These layers are usually made of polyamide or polyester films, types of plastics, coated in very thin layers of aluminum. The exact composition depends on where the satellite will orbit and what the insulation will be protecting and how much sunlight will be exposed to it. So this lets us know that they vary the material depending on where the satellite will be to match that location so it can withstand that location. Am I reading that fairly, Loken?
Yeah.
The gold and silver colored sheets you see are often a single layer of aluminized polyamide, with the silver aluminum side facing in. The yellowish gold color of the polyamide on the outside gives the satellite the appearance of being wrapped in gold. Multi-layer insulation is used on satellites primarily for thermal control and protects the delicate onboard instruments from the extreme temperatures of space. Depending on its orbit, a satellite can experience temperatures from below 200 Fahrenheit to well above 300 Fahrenheit, which supports what Pete was saying about the moon, sometimes at the same time. Not to mention the high temperatures on the onboard instruments can produce. So this is a close-up of a multi-layer insulation from a satellite. So this is literally specifically from a satellite. So this is what this stuff looks like up close.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Their worldview, it's like they can't even acknowledge that satellites are real.
It's not possible. Yeah, as you heard them say themselves. It took a while to get Pete to just say it straightly, but
you can find a very similar description of the lunar module in some of the Grumman handbooks or manuals that are easily available.
And just in case, let me get you the whole article. Fight to the session. I'll get you the whole article. I'll try to do that going forward if time allows. So, while MLI does not insulate a spacecraft from heat conduction or convection very well, this doesn't particularly matter in the near vacuum of space. So this goes back to what Loken was saying. There's not enough particles to transmit heat so that the satellite doesn't have to worry about that. So this material is not made to stop conduction of heat because there's not a lot of conduction of heat in space. Is that a fair reading, Loken?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? With no air around it, welcome, Shawn. With no air around, radiation is the dominant form of heat transfer. MLI, and I forgot what the abbreviation means that fast.
Multi-layer
There
insulation.
you go.
Yeah.
Multi-layer insulation is designed to reflect solar radiation back into space, keeping the instruments cool enough to operate while in sunlight, so it doesn't have to worry about convection heat. It only has to worry about radiation heat, and it's designed to reflect that heat, which means it doesn't absorb a lot of heat. It also maintains internal temperatures by keeping heat in, protecting the instruments from the extreme cold experienced when the spacecraft moves through Earth's or its own shadow. So it has some cushioning, some insulation for the warmth and the heat in the inside to keep the instruments going. It reflects heat on the outside so it doesn't get too hot. But it still is able to maintain, even with those controls, it may still get 200 below or 300 above, even with the radiation bouncing off a whole lot. But still, that's within the parameters of what the material can withstand and protect the satellite from. Am I giving it a fair reading?
Mm-hmm.
MLI can also provide a layer of defense against dust impacts, protecting delicate instruments and sensors from tiny particles of space debris. Although sheets of gold are not used to cover the entire satellite bodies, real gold is in fact used on some satellite components, from vapor deposited gold taping to gold coating. Gold is used because its multiple benefits in outer space. Gold can help protect against corrosion from ultraviolet light and X-rays, and acts as a reliable and long-lasting electrical contact on onboard electronics. Gold is also used by NASA in the construction of spacesuits. Because of its excellent ability to reflect infrared light while letting invisible light, astronauts' visors have a thin layer of gold on them to protect their eyes from unfiltered sunlight. Boom! Astronaut Scott Parazinski during a spacewalk on STS-120. The thin gold coating seen on his visor protects his eyes from harmful unfiltered sunlight while in space. Boom. Whole article seems to explain it pretty well. So what do y'all want to talk about that? I'll stop presenting. Oh, I done lost my connection again. This thing is bugging. Sorry. Oh, hold up. Back in again. Sorry, disconnected again.
Very similar.
Okay, here we go. So what do y'all have to say about that? What do y'all
The
think?
windows, I think the windows in Holland along the canal are coated with gold. When they reflect a certain angle from the sun at sunset, they are gold.
The windows in what?
Yeah, when I was 16, working in it was kind of like a green board factory, and they're making electronics. And we also did stuff for the military, and they had gold components for certain items. But that's my experience with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's just military. That's not shit that's going in space.
That's right.
Because it's gold. It's so it won't just fade away or whatever, rust.
This use other stuff too. They're saying though, like what?
Well, they've used those gold-coated visors in on the space suits since the very earliest days. That has been common.
But this use other stuff too. Though I have to remember to unmute myself when I come back in. This thing uses polyester films, polyamide, aluminized polyamide with silver aluminum sides, gold colored polyamide, and some actual gold. And as we can see, I mean, that looks like the foil. We can see it a little. It looks like it could flap that one. Oh, I forgot I'm not presenting anymore. The people can see it in the chat though. But yes, y'all saw the pictures. But yeah, looks pretty good, man. Good find for that link.
Let me show you something real quick.
Okay, and one moment here. Let me make sure it's showing properly on the stream. And you're good. I'll maximize the size so everybody can see it really well. Okay, go ahead. It's all you, Big Blue.
Yeah, this is part of one of the manuals produced by Grumman for the lunar module. Now you're talking about, did all this stuff happen back in 1969?
Okay.
The ascent stage thermal and micrometeoroid shield combines either a blanket of multiple layers of aluminized whatever you say, however that word is pronounced. Same word you're using, right?
Yeah.
Polyamide sheet or Captain H film and aluminized polyester sheet. So the same stuff that you just went through, it appears all through the Grumman manuals for the lunar modules way back when.
I see it. Polyamide. Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah. This is a legitimate 1968. I didn't want to lose my place. So page 2-7. I'll go back and show you where it comes from.
Awesome.
It comes from this.
Awesome. Lunar module 10 through 14. Is there a date on this thing somewhere? Is there a date in this manual somewhere?
I'm sure there probably.
Oh, there it is, right there. August 28, 1969, right there. So, Loken got what's going on today, and Big Blue got that it's been going on since 1969. So, even though he threw in a national argument, they did cover it. So, good work, guys.
And I put a link to this in the side chat too.
Awesome.
And that's the thing. Like, it doesn't require that hours of research. Like, you could do this in minutes.
Man,
I found this literally in 3 minutes.
Yeah, but people just deny, like, oh, it can't be real because it's from NASA or some other space agency. It's like, okay, well then just don't believe in anything. Live in your fucking fantasy world.
Yeah.
So we've known about and used polymers for decades. I mean, what is it? Bakelite was one of the first commercially available polymers.
And where did you post that link at, by the way, Big Blue? I'd like to have that link so I can read it later. Would you put it in the Hangout?
In the Hangout, yeah.
Oh, because I got disconnected. I can't see it. I'm sorry. Would you post it one more time, please? When I disconnected, it deleted all my links.
Let's see.
Is that a guitar umbrella?
Oh, so Matrixx. Do you want to come back on and address Loken and Big Blue? They answered both of your concerns. I didn't let you add more. You're trying to add a third one. But the idea was just the gold foil today. I mean, can it withstand the temperature? And was it back there in 1969 when the space mission was first going on? They showed evidence of that. If you want to come in and discuss that with them, here's the information again. Looks like I still see you commenting in the chat. So why don't you come on in and back yourself up if you want to do that. But that's some good stuff, man. I can't wait to read it later.
Can you see that now, Darryl?
Let me see here. Yep, I see it now. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm about to save this in my favorites now.
There's a whole series of, as you can imagine, there are lots and lots of manuals to go along with something as complex as those lunar modules were, and you can find every one of them. And it will take weeks to read all of it. Trust me, I've been through most of it. It's fascinating.
It looks like the manual of like an RC plane or a model you put together. It just the cover just doesn't look like. It just looks like.
I think when you get into the actual content of it, you'll find out it's a little more complex than a toy airplane.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks, the artwork and stuff, it looks like a sewing machine manual. You know, if it was a picture of a sewing machine, it would look.
You do realize in 1969 the computer that we would have used would pretty much use up your entire house.
Yeah.
We didn't have any kind of computer graphic capability in those days.
I'm not
everything that was just artwork. You know, it literally was artwork. You had a graphics department that put that stuff together. So you won't see a lot of really pretty stuff.
Well, it's dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah, it's just Freemason looking mumbo jumbo.
Freemason. Yeah.
My
damn graphic illustration Freemason.
All those Freemasons that they shot up into space.
Freemason graphic designers.
They're all. We all know that NASA was like 50 years ahead of everything that we had back then. So
they were called technical illustrators.
Yeah. My browser's not letting me load this thing, by the way. I must be having another internet lag or something, but I'll try another time. This happened when I was trying to load that.
Let me go to it and make sure it'll load from here.
But it's not unusual. Sometimes my browser my internet just acts funny.
No, it loaded right up. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just bookmark it. I'll be able to check it out later. But sometimes my browser doesn't let me load stuff. And when I was the first time this happened, when I was chatting and doing all this stuff, is when I was with Red Pill and them. And they just swore like there was people in the flat earth. You need to handhold him to open websites. And they're like, he does not want to open it. It's like, dude, my internet is not letting me open it. I was able to load it later though. But yeah, man, flat earth people are a trip. But cool. I just go back. Hopefully it opens my regular site.
I just reviewed Red Pill when he was on Chris Berry the other day.
All right.
And he was trying to say that Rumpus said that on a flat Earth, the horizon would be 3 feet or 3 miles away. He said Rumpus said it. Red Pill. He said Rumpus said that. He said, okay. He said, I've got the clip. I'll find it. And I and then he just delayed. So no, everyone forgot about it. But it just
hilarious.
I wish
they sure love citing ball earthers.
Oh
yeah, right. When are they ever going to give any kind of proof for flat or stationary or something?
Here's what's never going to happen. Get a legitimate PhD that's a flat earther in anything. In anything. I don't care if it's, it could be fucking psychology, whatever.
Yeah, I've never heard of a flat earther that actually had any kind of real education.
Yeah, but no, they're just indoctrinated.
Yeah. I've heard it said they were pilots or whatever, but it was always just in a flat earther video, right? It would be like this pilot did this, and Mark Shawn said this, and this army person says this laser, but it's always within the flat earth video. It's not anything that, you know what I mean? And at least I know that they lie. Just like I caught Matrixx in a lie earlier when he pretended he was asking an honest question, but he admitted today it was it was he doesn't accept it as possible. He was just trying to say it wasn't, so which is why
there was a guy, Daniel Wiley, he was on Ranty's, I guess his first thing, his roundtable, and it's like he's saying that the gyroscope, the artificial horizon indicator, proves that it's a flat Earth because it doesn't turn upside down as we go around the globe.
I saw that, man. I saw that,
and he
dude,
didn't
man.
mention.
Yeah.
He didn't mention the pendulous veins at all. He just glossed over that. He stopped short on that. It's like, you're just completely dishonest.
Are you talking about the guy that literally had the airplane and was going like this?
Yeah, no, this is just a few days ago. It was on Ranty Flat Earth's roundtable. He's like doing a kind of a thing like this now.
I'm telling you.
He had this guy as his first guest, and he was just a fraud. Didn't know anything about the equipment he was talking about, or he knew about it and he wasn't presenting the whole thing. I think the latter is more believable.
10-second Tom.
Yep.
Yeah, basically.
Just what we were talking about earlier. 10-second Tom. I know I've explained that shit to people 100 times. I've done several videos where I explained it.
And then Davin Good got in
Wolfie's gone through it. I've gone through it. I mean, there are legitimate pilots that have actually done this shit,
Mm-hmm.
We try to tell them and they just don't want to listen.
And then Davin Good got in the comment section saying, you don't know what you're talking about, man. Pendulous veins weren't invented until 1940. And I'm like, so?
I doubt attitude indicators were invented until 1940, you dipshit. People didn't always have attitude indicators. You realize that?
No, they just had like their eyes.
Instrumentation was pretty damn basic.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like a gimbal, like a weighted gimbal, basically.
Well, they still are for electric type AIs.
Are they?
You have no pendulous vein if it's an electrically actuated.
Oh yeah,
gyroscope.
That would be true.
The pendulous veins work because it is a vacuum operated attitude indicator.
Yeah. Well, it would have a sensor to sense where gravity is and then keep it there. Or no, that'd just be the
just gotta wait.
gimbal. Okay, yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
And by the way, looking at the comment, Dark Sea said earlier, Matrixx, we're tired of explaining physics to you 100 times just for you to say, nah, read a book. I agree. I'm not going to be wasting time explaining it to them anymore.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like,
I don't want to pick on Matrixx with him not here, but Matrixx, if you're listening, buddy, you need to really knock that off. Every time we go through one of these things, and you and I have gone through this before, it's always the same. The minute you think you're about to get trapped, you just change the requirements. You add another requirement to it. You move the bar. You put another set of goalposts way the hell down there.
Or it rage quits.
That's not fair. It really isn't. You need to make up your mind what question you're asking, ask it, and then shut up and let us answer.
Which is the same respect we showed him, right? I let him give his answer, and nobody interrupted. And okay, we're gonna talk about that answer, but he kept wanting to interject when Loken was giving his answer. So that's crazy, man.
I mean, he keeps saying that he doesn't really know about stuff. I mean, couldn't it be possible that one of us does?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not even like this isn't even my area of like I study geopolitics and things like that. This is just I've read a couple books, by Carl Sagan and Stephen Hawking, and I don't know any of like really the hardcore math, the calculus that's involved, but I'm sure a lot of you guys actually do, and I don't know, it checks out to me, but
because of this,
who am I, right?
Because of this, I've learned a lot more about physics, a lot more about astronomy, astrophotography. I've learned a lot more about psychology and logic and philosophy. Learning about fallacious, logical fallacies and stuff like that. So I've learned a lot.
Well, I've learned that there is truly something. It is possible to be absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've been in 72-hour lockups or holds with people that are saner than some of the people that come on here.
Yeah, same here, Shawn. I was in the Army for 6 years, and I've been in like the psych ward for clinical depression.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's people in there that they let out that you're like, what the fuck? He's not good to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely there's people online that are not diagnosed or they need to get, but I won't get into that.
Yeah, we won't talk
I'm not a fucking doctor, but I do, it just, they do mimic some of the symptoms. That's all I know.
What do y'all think about Wikipedia, by the way, guys? Dr. Zurkov and Fight the Deception were talking a bit about Wikipedia because I've stated very clearly that I do not hold Wikipedia in high regard because there's things that I've known that I've tried to update on Wikipedia articles and other people update them back incorrect. And I actually my accountant got put on like a timeout or something because I kept trying to correct an article and people who didn't know what they were talking about kept making it wrong. So I just stopped using Wikipedia altogether. I don't go there at all. So
yeah, I don't cite Wikipedia for stuff.
What is your experience with this, Shawn?
I go like to sources like manuals, like military manuals, operations manuals for like equipment, scientific papers from like universities and stuff like that, from actual scientific sources, not just reviews of those things.
I was talking with Fight the Deception that day, and when I said, I told him, I said, look, I don't respect Wikipedia. I told him the story I gave you earlier. I know stuff is wrong there. They champion wrong stuff. I mean, I'm sure not everything, but I know there's stuff that's wrong there, so I just don't deal with it. And for me personally, and he said, well, this article has so many different links. You can look at the links. So I asked him. I said, did you read the references, the links? Guess what he said, Shawn? You know what he said.
No.
No.
I mean, Wikipedia is good for having references and links and footnotes at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. I told him. I said, you didn't read it. You don't know if you're quoting it wrong.
Yeah.
What they need to do is get off the fucking internet and read a couple of books on just, the basic subject.
Yeah.
And if they actually read through an entire book and are still not convinced, then there's just no hope for them.
I don't think they're ever going to do it, man, because they already know, as we heard them say. They already know.
Of course not. That's too hard. That's too time consuming. I'd rather just sit on my ass and watch fucking YouTube videos.
Exactly.
All day about the fucking flat Earth.
I'd like to get a hold of some high school science books, like where they have the experiments in them, and just like look through them because it's been a long time since I've seen a high school science book, and just have something to show.
I kept and still have pretty much all of my old college engineering texts and physics books and stuff. So
I mean, they say that we don't double check anything.
That's what I refer to.
We don't reference anything. We don't check to see what they're telling us is a lie or not. Right. But no, that's the books that we used did that.
Yeah. You're talking about people not checking anything, man. I have one that takes the cake. Let me. Did y'all see my debate with DITRH? I guess it wasn't really a debate, it was a conversation, but did y'all see that? Anybody? Give me a moment, let me find that thing. I'm going to show y'all this part that's going to trip you out. but it totally illustrates perfectly the mindset of flat Earth. A moment here. Here we go. So this is the flat Earth channels when I talk with DITRH and Hori Sheet. And I'm going to show you all this image. I'm going to play the video. And while the video is playing, I'm going to show you all this image that I wish I would have put it in the video, taken the time to put it in the video, but I didn't. So where do I post this at? Right here. And actually, let me make sure I post it at the right spot. Give me a moment here.
I'll look that up for you.
Yeah, that's on the other side of the. Definitely prove one way or another who's right, mainstream science, or is there something we've been lied to about? That's kind of where we're at.
Another question, like.
All right, here we go. So I'm about to share the link with a timestamp on it. So anybody who opens it should be able to go right there. Y'all can hear what he's talking about. But I'm about to play it in the stream. So y'all be able to see it there. And actually, I'll just, which window do I have? This one here. And I'll present it. And I forgot. Y'all won't be able to hear it, huh? What y'all may want to do is just, I think I could, if I put this thing in studio, will y'all hear it in the Hangout, in the Meet? Is that the way it works?
I think so.
I think.
Yeah, I think it will. Maybe not. I don't know.
Let me see here. I'm still new to
OBS and OBS hates me. So.
Speakers, mic, no. Speakers, devices. Okay, no problem. Just let me make sure it's in the right spot, and I can give it to y'all, and y'all can just play it.
Another question, like I haven't gotten a good answer from a ball believer, and I have to paint a little picture for you. Actually, I can.
Okay, so just open that link right there. Is that the right spot? It's only going to be like 5 or 10 minutes, but you're going to hear him make a claim, and then hear when I ask him to justify it. And I'm playing it in the stream right now. So
I'll give you. I can drop a picture in here if you give me a second. So you got the sun in the middle, and you got the Earth on one side of the sun. Okay, I'm just going to paint a mental picture for you. And you're on. It's midnight, so you're looking in the opposite direction of the sun when you look up. You're standing on the side of the Earth compared to the sun, whatever, and you're looking up. And you see stars, whatever stars you see, doesn't matter. Okay. 6 months later, the Earth is on the other side of the sun.
Okay.
Okay. Midnight is facing away from the other side of the sun. Correct?
Yes.
And you look up and you see a lot of the same stars.
Same ones.
The same ones. And in reality, those stars are on the other side of the sun.
The whole universe, like the other side of the like 100,000 something million miles away, right?
To make sure I'm understanding properly, you're saying that when you're like basically at the equator, basically.
Not even equator.
That doesn't have to do with it. Anywhere. No, you're just looking at the night sky on. Let's say it's January, and we're looking at the night sky in January. Now, 6 months down the line, we're way on the other side of the sun, and we're looking
here
in June. We're looking at a completely.
Picture in the chat.
There you go. We're looking at we should be seeing a completely different set of constellations in the sky is what David's going to. But take a look at the picture.
Right.
I see it there.
And they say, in the summer and the winter, where there's some constellations that we don't see in the winter. And the reason for that is because in the winter, there's constellations that we don't see in the summer. The reason for that is it's darker earlier. And those ones, before they spin over the flat Earth and disappear due to perspective, the sun sets in the winter and you can see them. In the summer, it's light longer, so we don't see those early constellations. But those late night constellations, you see them all year long.
All right, this is what I challenge you to do then, because what you're saying does not match what I've seen. For instance, one of my favorite constellations is the Orion constellation. And I know that I only see that constellation around wintertime. And I know that as in the middle of winter, it's like right there. And as winter moves on, it's like to the side and to the side and to the side. And then I don't see it again to the next winter. So in my experience, I see different constellations throughout the year. What you're saying does not match my experience. So what I would challenge you to do is take some kind of photograph or video or whatever, and show us a recording of you seeing the same
That
should be enough right there.
6 months. That might have been done already. I'll look that up for you.
Yeah, that's somebody.
So you notice? Did y'all hear it? Did y'all hear it? In the panel. Hold up, I might be muted again. So did y'all hear it in the panel? Did y'all hear it?
Yeah.
And did you hear what he claimed?
Yeah.
No evidence. Didn't see it himself. But it's sad. And that's the image, by the way. If you look at the presentation, that's the image that he showed in the video. This image right here. So as far as I can tell, the only evidence he has that we see the same stars every 6 months is that this meme says so.
Okay.
This is what he presented.
Cool.
And you heard me ask him, which stars did you see? Maybe it's been done already. I gotta check. Like, oh my gosh.
I have $10,000 in a drawer in my bedroom. If I keep thinking that, maybe it'll be true.
Man, but I see this over and over and over again with flat earth believers. They just watch a YouTube video or somebody puts a meme on social media, and as long as it's from somebody who claims to be a flat earther, or as long as it supports their position, it's true.
That's all they need.
Yeah. You prove it wrong, they just make up something else, or they just change the subject and run.
Move the globe post.
Yeah, like Matrixx was doing a moment ago. You still don't want to come on? Well, it looks like he might be gone by now.
Damn.
But cool, guys. I won't be on much longer. Y'all want to give some final words before I shut it down, or is there any other pressing topic anybody want to cover? Seems like it's winding down.
No, I'm still waiting for that photo.
What photo is that? Of the flat Earth?
For a photo shot at ground level of a boat 50 miles out, unobstructed.
They're never going to do it. They always just make an excuse. They say I haven't really heard anybody make the claim of looming. But apparently they say we just say it's looming or something. But they always say it's refraction or something like that. But somebody showed us. Go ahead.
I just tried using flan flavored Jello to sweeten my coffee. Now my coffee's all lumpy.
Well, I told you what you can do if you want to debate me, fight the deception, but I'll go ahead and let your little link stay up if you want. And I apologize. I saw his comment. What was that last thing you said, Shawn?
I said I used flan flavored Jello or pudding to mix to flavor my coffee. You know, before you cook it, and now my coffee's all lumpy.
Oh. Never heard of that before. Flan flavored mix?
Yeah, it's like Jello pudding, flan Jello pudding, flavored Jello pudding, and I had some. And so I tried using it as a sweetener because flan flavored coffee would be good, but no, it just like coagulated it.
Right. What was your independent variable?
But yeah, it's like lumpy. Lumpy coffee is not good.
You're not supposed to have to chew your coffee. No.
It's like being in the Army again.
Oh, hell, don't remind me.
Well, guys, it was fun, guys.
It was fun, Darryl.
Yeah, got some good evidence on here, some good talks. It's always good hanging with you guys. I'm going to go get something to eat and chill out and relax. But
that sounds like a winner.
But I will be back tomorrow. It's going to be a metaphysical topic tomorrow, though. One can't remember the other part of her name. She's going to come on tomorrow. We're going to talk about like out of body. She had a near death experience. Let me find her channel here because I just subscribed to it not too long ago. One Eileen Coates will be here. At least she hopes to be here. And we'll talk about out of body experience, near death experience, and things like that. That'll be tomorrow at Central Standard Time. And any flat earth want to come try to debate it or something, I don't mind doing that. But yeah, I did some experiments with it. Even though I'm going to do more, I need to get my skills up and do even more experiments with it. And hopefully y'all can show up. Maybe we could do some science talk as well, or maybe y'all want to grill me on that too. I don't mind being challenged on those things as well. But cool, guys. Thank y'all for showing up. I'm gonna shut it down, give me some rest, stretch my legs. Feel like I've been sitting here forever. It's like my third one today. Somebody go for a walk or
Right on.
something. And y'all be cool.
Have a good one,
All
guys.
right.
See
Yep.
ya.
See you later.